Once again, 2025, 2026, we are back. NFL live stream. Feels good to be back. Week 0. Haven't seen you fellas for a stream in a bit. To be honest, the Dubcast has been a little quiet, but this right here, this stream motivates me to keep going. So how have you guys been? Ready for football season? Honestly, we're doing this pod. I feel happy just talking about the NFL. But Cam, we haven't seen you since the draft.
I know. Yeah, it's been forever. It's good to see you guys. I mean, unfortunately, it's not an in-person stream. I know those were our favorite, but good to just talk to you guys again, see you on screen, and make some picks. It's been way too long since we've talked about football, and I'm so excited for this upcoming week. Starts on Thursday, so here we go.
Michael, last time we saw you, NBA Finals.
Yep.
Only 2 months.
Very happy about my NBA bracket, so that was good.
Yeah, I think we owe you money, actually. Anyways, we'll skip by that.
Before we get into it, do we have the wrap-up stats from last year? A little recap?
I do.
All right,
these are on the record, so...
So, yeah, we got the Dubcast coming back. Best stream of the year. Best series during the year is
True.
The week-by-week Dubcast NFL gang. We'll have much more coming during the next coming weeks with some special guests and featured sections of the Dubcast. So, yeah, stay tuned.
What a promo. All right. So here we go. So we had 5 pickers total on the whole stream last year. Us 3, and then Mark and Rat joined us for a couple streams. So picks against the spread, coming in last place was Rat with a record of 8-11-1, which is a 42% win rate. Michael, you are our second to worst picker, 115-107-2 for a 52% win rate, though, so still above 500. My record, 152-129-4 for 54%. Mark had them 1-9-7 week for 56%, and then number 1 in the house, Cam, 132-91-3 for 59, almost 60% win rate on the year. So these are in the books, so we'll have to see who can either keep it up or move up a couple places in the leader books. We'll see what happens. Focus 5, I think I need to do a better job of tracking the Focus 5 somehow and like odds and stuff. But Michael, you are at 23-57 for 29%.
Definitely made money though.
Honestly, you probably did. Cam, second to last, 24-56 for 30%. Rat was 7-14 for 33%. Mark, 3-6 for 33%. I was leader in the clubhouse with the Focus 5, but admittedly, I did have the most simple picks, 48, 59-1 for 45%. So I'm thinking, if I feel like I'm really going to try, maybe I'll put all your guys' bets in, and then we'll do an odds thing, but I'm probably not going to do that. So we'll just have to keep it, see what happens. We will have a new segment debuting with a lot of talking heads behind the scenes, but we'll get to that in another stream. We're here today to talk about this 2025-2026 NFL season. Honestly, overlaying thoughts if you have any, but I feel like not much has changed. You go through the offseason and there's all these signings, draft picks, but it's at the end of the day, it's mostly the same teams. I mean, there's 4 new playoff teams every year. We'll be excited for that. But is there anything you guys wanted to say overall on the landscape side of things before we dive into each specific team here?
One quick thing, I did forget to say this in the intro, but we do have a new official sponsor on the Dubcast.
No, this is not official.
We are now officially sponsored by Four Loko, also dubbed the name Quattro Crazy. But going to Dub's question, like you said, honestly, we dive so much into the offseason and training camp, preseason, just to eventually get to this point where we're picking, and it's, I'm picking the same exact teams year over year. Feels like for the past 5, especially with the core young quarterbacks that are really coming into their prime right now. I have a couple of, I don't know about head scratchers, but something that might pique your interest. But like you said, mostly pretty much the same year in, year out, who the contenders are. So,
yeah.
Michael?
Going through this, I kind of feel like I went pretty chalk. There's a couple teams that I feel like they stick out.
I feel the same. Honestly, I'll explain the format in a second.
In the East, I haven't picked my 7th team yet, but I only have 2 teams that are new from last year. So, and then in the NFC, I have 1 new team.
Yeah, we'll get to it when we get to it. But I did try to get to the 4 teams. So we'll explain the format of this thing. So we're going to go through each team division by division, and then in each of those divisions, we'll go alphabetically by city. So we'll start with Buffalo Bills, AFC East, go down each of the teams, how we think about them, and then after we wrap the divisions, we'll talk about the odds to win the division. After we're done with all 32 teams in the NFL, we'll give our award winners. I picked one realistic pick and one long shot pick. I'm not sure if you guys followed that format, but we can talk about that when we get to it. And then I have my 7 playoff teams from each side, and then my Super Bowl pick and my Super Bowl future pick, and then we can discuss any other future picks like receptions, touchdowns, that type of bullshit. I'm not dabbling into that, but if you guys have anything, and then we'll talk NCAA week 1. So starting it off, I think a simple way to kind of get into each team is we can explain whether we're bullish or bearish. So for those who aren't investors out there, bullish is very good. You're expecting high returns. Cam puts a smile on his face, finance guy. Bearish, looks like things might contract and might get a little bit worse than last year. So we'll start with the team who made the AFC championship game. It was the Buffalo Bills. Controversial loss to the Chiefs once again on that 4th down play. Cam, we didn't get to hear a lot from you during the playoffs. You were busy at the time, but I mean, here we go with the Bills again. The over-under is a skyrocket, 12.5 wins. I think this is one of the highest win totals on the board. They're minus 750 to make the playoffs. Cam, are you bullish or bearish on the Bills, and what are you thinking about these numbers we're looking at on the screen here?
Bullish as a team. Our numbers obviously fluctuate depending upon the book and the time when we look at it. I had it at 11.5. I don't know what exactly I was looking at, but could be minus money, but I'm still very bullish. I mean, how can you not be? You have arguably the best quarterback, the reigning defending MVP in a very weak division, even though we do have maybe one team rising, hint a little bit later. But no, I mean, definitely very bullish. It's very difficult to not pick them to win the division. If not, I mean, most people, or I say some, would have them going to the Super Bowl, if not winning the Super Bowl, and hopefully dethroning the Chiefs out of the AFC. But that's my kind of take on that.
Michael?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they didn't lose too many people. They got James Cook signed his contract a couple weeks ago. Yeah, another year in their new offensive coordinator from last year's offense, and I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be as good, if not better, as they were the last year.
What about this? Most boring Hard Knocks season in the past 3 or 4 years. Have you guys been watching?
Were they Hard Knocks this year?
They are Hard Knocks right now.
I did watch. Obviously, clearly, Mikey did not.
Nope.
I did. I honestly thought it was okay. I mean, it was definitely very dry. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I feel like Hard Knocks is always kind of dry. I've never really been a massive fan. I did think episode 3, I think it was arguably one of the worst episodes I've ever seen in my entire life.
The DeMar Hamlin episode?
Yeah. The DeMar Hamlin part was like okay, but also we've heard about that ad nauseum for the past 3 to 4 years. So, but they basically followed 3 people that I think got cut, and they were like just showing them battling out on special teams, like the gunner position. It was like, okay, I'm not watching this for an hour.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the idea of them like bunking up at this college was cool, and then like KJ Hamler on the scooter was funny, but besides that, like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like a better idea to follow a team who's like that good, because you have the Bears. Like the Bears were really interesting last year because you have like Caleb Williams and potentially Matty Eberflus last year. 2 years ago, the Jets, like Aaron Rodgers in this new space. So I think you kind of go look at those middle teams rather than like a good team to make up good Hard Knocks. All that being said, back to the point, I'm also bullish on the Bills. I think Bills are one of the easiest teams to bet on, to like. I mean, it's Josh Allen. And, they have kind of this weird wide receiver thing going on where, like, they got signed, like, Elijah Moore. I did like the KJ Hamler signing. I thought he might do something there. But Joshua Palmer, like, I think you can just kind of interchange these guys, and it'll be okay. I mean, James Cook, Mike, you mentioned that as well. Defense will still be good with McDermott. So for the over-under on my book, I just chose the one that had the closest odds. 12.5 seems high, but you got to remember the 18-game season. This is one I'm just not going to touch. I'm sure they'll make the playoffs unless Josh Allen gets hurt. So that's where I'm at, but we're all bullish on the Bills this season. Before we get into our next team, we do have our first comment of the stream of the new year. Why does the chump in the middle? Why doesn't the chump in the middle have a hat too? I think we ran into this problem last year as well. You got to get a new hat.
Yeah, I might just rock the Mac Jones helmet that I still have sitting on my one mantle in my apartment. We'll see. We can work on the hat game. Well, I'll figure it out.
It's week 0. We're getting back into
we're warming up. Yeah,
we'll figure it out. Speaking of figuring it out, we have a team down in South
We're
Florida.
not making
Miami.
a pick.
I
We're not
you wanna
saying
make a
over
pick?
under.
No.
Officially, I'm taking.
If you want to.
I'll take.
I mean, we can do.
I
would
I
lean
think we
under.
pick, and then we kind of let people know like if we are actually going to throw money on it. Like
All right,
I like the over, but I'm not going to place money on over 12.5 wins.
Yeah, I
under.
wrote down, I saw it at 11.5, and I had the over on that.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of a lock.
Yeah,
I would say under.
I think there's going to be like some teams. I could see like three teams in the AFC having 14 or 15 wins.
wow.
So I think they're one of those
Interesting.
teams.
Did you run a simulation and then you just picked the good teams to win?
No, I did not run a simulation.
I did that last year
on this episode. Like,
I did that last year. Like, you pick every single game, and then I would always just like, I'm not gonna like spot pick the Bills to lose like the Jets and like that, which obviously is gonna happen at some point. Like a lesser team, so you just end up having like all the good teams being like 14-3. I will say slight under. I think this division. I don't think if the Patriots are going to be good, which is the only other threat I'm looking at this division. Not to get into our next picks, but I think they can kind of rest their guys last couple of weeks. So I don't think 12.5 is pretty high for the Bills unless they're coming from the 1 seed. I don't know, but I'd lean under on 12.5. That's just a pretty high number. So next team, Miami, over under 7.5. A lot of people are down in this team. A lot of people think they could collapse easily. Friend of the podcast, Ali, is out on this team as well. Week 2, Patriots play the Dolphins. We'll have to see what happens there, but not much has changed for the Dolphins, except everyone's kind of just got a year older. Tua had picked up another concussion. Tyreek Hill's in another year, like slowing down. Waddle's in and out of injury. A-Chain has an injury. Defense is kind of suspect. I think they got rid of Jalen Ramsey. So, Michael, your take on the Miami Dolphins for the season. Are you bullish or bearish on this Miami Dolphins team this year?
Well, their backup quarterback is Noah, other than Zachary Wilson.
Go.
So
they're
when Tua misses 7 games this year, that's 7 losses. Yeah, so I'm definitely down on this team. Last year they were a bad team. They just were. I think
I wouldn't say bad. They're middling.
Fine, but they were
with Tua.
Yeah, and I don't know, like how you can look at what they did this offseason and be like, they're going to be 4 wins greater than they were last year to make the playoffs. Like, especially with the Patriots getting better, the Jets maybe being slightly better than they were last year, the Bills still being great. Yeah, I don't see it with them.
Yeah,
and going into the season with Zach Wilson as your backup quarterback, the Jets did that 2 years ago, and he played the entire year. So,
yeah.
Well, I think we were talking about last year on the stream. Like, if you're like a Daniel Jones or like a high end, like, why isn't Kirk Cousins on the Miami Dolphins right now? Like, this is the most obvious injury situation of all teams. It's like it's gonna happen. It's happened every year. So Zach Wilson, I think, is an interesting signing as a backup. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of out on him in general. He's past his 5-year limitation. I'm also bearish on this team. It's a tougher division because the Patriots will be better slightly. At least you have to play the Dolphins. I mean, you have to play the Bills 2 times. Same old thing. Everyone's just a year older. So I'm also bearish. Cam, you gave a big thumbs down as well.
I don't think I could be more bearish. I have them being one of the worst teams in the league. I think this is the absolute blow up of the Miami Dolphins, and we're going to be talking about them next year, about a completely different team, maybe new head coach, new quarterback, new wide receiver core, even including Waddle. I don't think I've heard a single positive thing about this Dolphins team. I like how they brought back Minka, but their defense, even with him, I don't know. They got to really play into that Miami Heat advantage early on and maybe scratch some wins early, but I don't know. Like you said, Tua and then Zach, honestly didn't know Wilson was going to be the backup, so that made me even more bearish than I originally was.
Hey, they got Quinn Ewers in the draft.
I'd love to see that. I'd rather have Ewers, and that gives you, because you know what you're getting with Zach, I feel like, at this point. But, I mean, obviously he's still pretty young. Yeah, exactly. So Ewers would be a fun, team to actually keep him, in the conversation of, the Dolphins are on. Maybe I'll throw it on for 5 minutes. Like if I see Zach Wilson on the field, I'm not ever going to watch a Dolphins game unless the Patriots are playing. So yeah, I couldn't be more bearish on them to sum that up.
All right, so the number is 7.5. Michael, we'll kick it back to you. If you had to give a pick, do you love it? Do you hate it? Over under 7.5.
I took the under on 8.5, which is what I saw. But I think for 7.5, I'd also take the under. I'm thinking like a 5-win team this year.
Yeah.
Same. I'm going definitely. This is one of the ones I am going to place. I feel like I had it at 7.5, so I'm taking the under on that. I might even alternate and take it like under if it's possible. I haven't really dove into FanDuel, but I might take them under 5.5. Like Mikey said, this might be a 5-win team, if not less than that. So it's my pick there.
All right. Yeah, I like the under too. I think even if the Dolphins are like as good as they possibly can be, they're like an 8-win team, 9-win team.
Their first 4 games are Colts, Pats, Bills, Jets.
They're gonna get the Pats in Miami. It's just gonna happen. It always happens. So
on September 14th.
That's not a bad schedule to jump out, but they can't play in the cold in the winter. So
yeah,
pretty bearish all around in this Miami Dolphins team. And now we get to majority of the podcast's favorite team, the New England Patriots. New coach, Will Campbell. A lot of money spent on the defense. Still have the most remaining cap space in the league. We'll say that, but we'll start with you, Cam, because your pick will be obvious. You bullish or bearish on this?
Yeah, very.
Team?
I got that, the spring fever. I was extremely, probably the most bullish you could be on the Patriots during the offseason. Recently, kind of like I said earlier, I was extremely involved in listening to local sports radio about how they looked in training camp, and it kind of made me a little nervous. But then I'm at the same time, no, you can't really judge based off of that. There's not really a lot of volume there when it comes to quality reps. I think this team is. I had them at 8.5. I had it at 8. I'm definitely taking the over. I don't know if they're good enough to flirt with the division. Maybe a game or two from Buffalo yet, but I definitely like them overall in the season. They also have arguably the weakest schedule out of all the teams in the NFL, which is incredible. Going to be boots on the ground for 2 of those games on the road, so hopefully I can bring a little luck to them. But I'm taking definitely the Pats in the over 8.5. Potentially, we'll see them in a later segment as well. But
what games are you going to?
I'm going to be boots on the ground for New Orleans, my first time in New Orleans, and then going to see them the next week at Tennessee on my mandatory 10-day vacation.
Huh. Sounds like a great mandatory vacation. Yeah, I'll be boots on the ground actually for Panthers Pats.
Okay.
September. Yeah, so
I'm gonna need you there. Yeah, I've already got probably $200 on that game straight up with some Charlotte people. So
all right, I'll be influencing the crowd. Yeah, so I'm also pretty bullish. I will say my dad has been saying 5 and 12, 5 and 12. I don't know. I think he's listening to too much Felger and Maz.
Yeah, me too.
But I think no matter what, this season will be a success because it can't be worse than the last 2 years.
It cannot. If it is, I'm not doing podcast again. If they are
back-to-back third overall picks, or third and then fourth. It just Mayo was a complete disaster. Vrabel will bring some stability, hopefully. And they were talking about yesterday on the radio about him being a bad personnel player or bad personnel person, which we'll see. I want them to get a GM. I want them to be try new things and not just go back to these old things like Josh McDaniels and whatever. But at least he's got Josh McDaniels has won Super Bowls. Mike Vrabel is a very experienced coach. So I'm bullish on it too. I think Drake May should have a jump up where he's getting more weapons. The Stephon Diggs signing, you bring back Hunter Henry, who you liked a lot, Demario Douglas, and then, maybe one of these kids, Kyle Williams or Chisholm, can pop off. Travion Henderson apparently is a very hot pick for Rookie of the Year. So I think this offense will be a lot better. The defense is going to be good because it's been good, even with Mayo and the last years of Belichick. The defense was still a strong point of the team. So leading into that, and one of the craziest schedules ever, where I looked at the schedule the other day, I'm like, how is this possible to have this as a schedule? You have the last place schedule, and then they play the NFC South, which is one of the weaker NFC divisions. So I think really this is setting up well for the Patriots. We'll wait a second for the over-under. We'll see what Mikey thinks. Mikey, are you bullish or bearish on your team's biggest rival this season?
I'd say I'm bearish comparatively to you two, but I would say overall I'm slightly bullish. I think they're going to be a 8-10 team. which I think is a great improvement. I think the jump for Drake May is going to be like a couple steps up, 2 games, a couple
DK
steps back,
stepped up.
2 games, and like I think they'll have an up and down year, but I think they'll be like obviously room for improvement for next year and reason to believe that they will be a lot better next year. So I took the under on 8.5, but I'm thinking they're going to get to 8. So
Perfect. That's an objective opinion. I can definitely understand that. Clearly, we got fucking a little bit of heart in our bets for week 0.
And I feel like 8.5 is high. I feel like they're playing Patriots fans with that.
Well, the national media is in love with the Patriots. I heard Nick Wright going on like
it's the Pats and the Broncos that the national media is like, I love these teams.
All I'm asking for this Pats season, which I think is easily accomplishable, is last couple of weeks, and I'm copying Felger always says this, but it's a good point. Last couple of weeks, it's like we just want to be in the hunt. Even if we're on like one of those last couple of teams that's like there, it has something to play for. That's all you can ask for as a fan.
Meaningful games in January.
Yeah, you can ask for a lot more, but the Patriots, we grew up with them being Super Bowl champions over and over again, always being in it. And then we had 2 years down in the dump. So to be back in the hunt would be a good sign of things, get us some faith restored and then maybe spend some more money off season, whatever, and get back to it. So me personally, I think they're at 9 or 10 wins, man. Like I just think the schedule is so easy. Like it's crazy. Like all the hard teams are coming here. You're playing in like shitty places. I think the Patriots can easily get 9 wins if everything goes right. And we'll have to see because it's a new coach, new system, or kind of old system with McDaniels. But I don't know. I have some faith in my home team. I'll take the over 8.5. Cam, I'm guessing you're taking the over as well.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I'm also going to actually place money on is over 8.5. Based off of, we've kind of talked about it. Vrabes, I think, has already established a much more defined and structured culture than whatever Mayo tried to do last year. Also, I don't know if you guys saw, we got a culture guy in Tommy DeVito today. 3rd stringer, going to bring life around the locker room. How can you not? I was devastated when he got cut, but hey, what better place to be than New England? So give me the over on 8.5. And I don't know if we talk about it now, but you also have him plus 115 to make the offs. I am also taking that. Personally.
Yeah, I can't take this because I can't do heart and money. I try to keep those separate, so I'm not touching the Patriots this year. I hate the DeVito signing. Mikey's wearing his fucking agent's hat right now. He sucks. He's not good at football.
I didn't say he was good. I say he's a team guy. He's going to be good in the locker room. He's a good in the locker room guy.
What about him?
He brings smiles across every single one of his teams. He's going to have the greatest bond with any Italian that's on that team. There might be 0, but I don't know.
My first ever college football game at Syracuse, I walk into the dome. It's Cuse versus Clemson. Holy shit, biggest moment ever. Tommy DeVito fucking sucked eggs. Fuck him. And then he transferred to Illinois. All my friends were gassing him up for last year. He's a scumbag. One of my friends is in his hometown, and I can go off the record and we can get into a whole Tommy DeVito. Fuck Tommy DeVito. I hope they cut him. Go get Kyle McCord. Get a real quarterback. Enough of this bullshit.
Go get DTR.
So Michael, you're on the under. DTR is the worst quarterback in the NFL. Michael, you're on the under 8.5.
Yes.
But you're saying just 8. Okay. Good segue. We have the last team in the AFC East. It is the New York Jets. Over under 6.5 wins. Jets also changing up a lot. New quarterback, Justin Fields. New coach, Aaron Glenn. Not sure. There's probably a bunch of other changes that I'm missing, but obviously Aaron Rodgers is gone. Devontae Adams is gone. That whole kind of, are you willing to admit that was a little bit of a toxic culture there going on for a minute there? No. Okay. Anyways, it's a new thing. So, Gary Wilson, there was trade rumors. He's back. Sauce, big extension as well. So 2 people that you guys were worried would leave or be traded are back. The core is still here. Do you want to lead the pack here or give the other dissenting opinions before you give your opinion on this Jets team?
Overall, I think they'll be a competitive football team this year. If that'll translate to wins, I don't know, but I think they're going to run the ball 90% of the time and play good defense. So, yeah.
I kind of think on a much lower scale, they're in a very similar position as the Patriots. They have a core. Sure, they have extended them, and we necessarily haven't extended ours. They got a new head coach that I don't know about Glenn setting a tone when it be as a culture, since this is his first in as head coach. But it definitely seems like it's more organized, and I feel like Jets fans are, I don't know about excited, but they're more happy about the situation they are in now as opposed to where they have been, at least during the season the past 2 years.
Just like cautious optimism.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I'm bearish on the Jets overall, but that's regarding betting wise. Both, like, overall, like, I think Glenn could build something there with that, with Fields being at the helm. I highly doubt it, but I think it's more of a stepping stone, looking for that quarterback in either this upcoming draft or the year after. And then from there, you can actually talk about the Jets being somewhat in the mix in the AFC East. But I'm bearish, like I said, as a bettor, but overall, I think this could be a stepping stone year for them.
Yeah, I'm bearish on them overall as well. I just, like, you're not winning like 8 to 9 games with Justin Fields as your quarterback in this NFL. I don't know. I don't love the move. I mean, I like the move because you're taking a chance. Like, he's only been in the league for a couple of years. Like, maybe you can have like a Sam Darnold type comeback, but he's more of like a runner type guy. I don't know. I don't put much faith into it, but I have always liked the Jets core. Like, I love Garrett Wilson, Ohio State products. I think Breece Hall is pretty good, and they don't use him enough. I mean, even Braylon Allen I like a lot. And then I like Sauce. I like some of their defensive stuff. Like, I feel like they do have a defensive culture, which Aaron Glenn can lead into. And so I do think I'm even more optimistic than Cam as a bettor. Like, I think they can keep some games close depending on like situations. We'll have to see what happens and where it is and the weather and that type of stuff. But I don't think this Jets team is going to be like as miserable as last year. I think there's going to be like, it's going to be a more fun team where, like, if the Jets win, you'll be like, oh, that was a really good win, you know? So I think they'll be more fun, but I'm a little bit bearish on their chances to actually do something in this NFL season. And then the 6.5, over under 6.5, I'm going to take the under. It's just, I don't know. I haven't looked at the only schedule I really looked at was the Patriots and the Chargers, which we'll get to. But Patriots, I mean, Jets, I don't know what their schedule. You have to play the Bills 2 times. I mean, they've kind of played the Bills close always, so maybe they can pull one of those off, and, you know, maybe they can beat the Pats.
They've split with the Bills the past.
Yeah, they always play the Bills well because
I think
they've always had a couple of primetime games. Dolphins aren't going to be anything great, so maybe you pull the one off in New York. I think they'll be competitive in the division. Like, I think they're going to finish. They're going to be one of the last 2 teams in the division. 6.5 is a tough number, though. I think maybe they're at 5 or 6 wins, and, you know, you can kind of reevaluate and move on from there. I don't think anything drastic will happen. You have Fields for another year, but maybe you led yourself to getting like a Drew Aller, Arch Manning, Cade Klubnik, Nussmeier, one of those guys, and see what happens. So overall, as like an organization, I'm bullish on the Jets, but this season specifically, I'm bearish. And I'm taking probably the under 6.5.
Yeah, I'm the same as you, Dub. I'm seeing probably 4 or 5 wins, maybe 6, if, like we talked about, everything lines up in their favor, whether it be location and weather, and the other team's ability, whether it be health or otherwise related. But I don't know. I hate to say this with the fellow Jets guy on the pod, but the Jets are the Jets until they prove me wrong. I'm probably going to be taking the under on them for the foreseeable future.
Michael?
They always prove you wrong. I see the Dolphins, Pats, and Jets all finishing with 7 or 8 wins.
Okay.
So I'm going to take the over, and it'll be like a last 3 weeks thing where they're all maybe going to get the 7th spot in the playoffs. I don't think they'd make it to the playoffs, but I could see them winning 7 games, maybe 8. I think they're going to be in a lot of 17-14, 21-20 games.
I see that.
And that's the style of football that they're built to play, because they have the running. They have basically 3 running backs, and Justin Fields is one of them. And they're going to throw the ball to Garrett Wilson and Garrett Wilson only, and then run the ball every single other time, and that'll be their entire offense. So we'll see how that goes, but I think their defense is built in a way that will allow them to stay in those kind of games. Like, they can stop the run, and I think Sauce is going to have a breakout year. 2-time first team All-Pro and has 2 interceptions in his career, I think. And that's mostly due to the style of defense they were playing under Saleh. And that's definitely going to change this year. I could see him having 6 or 7 interceptions this year. And that would be awesome. And I think their defense is going to be elite, top 5, maybe top 7. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I think it's all in the offense to not turn the ball over and run the ball, basically. So,
all right. We'll see if the Jets follow through. Taking a look at this division as a whole, we have the AFC East, Bills massive favorites to win this division. Pats are the second highest odds, and the Dolphins are at plus 1,000. Jets almost at plus 2,000. So, I mean, not really much to talk about on this one. Cam, you taking a swing on the Pats here at plus 475, or just leaving this one for the Birds?
No, I'd rather save that money and sprinkle it game by game or on something else I like as a future. It's honestly not even high enough. I think I'd even entertain it. Like, I feel like the Bills kind of take this and not a runaway, but by like 3 games, and it's not really. I think the Pats, like I said, are competitive, but they're not at that level where they're competing for the division. I don't think quite yet. So I'm gonna take. If I had to take some, I'd take the Bills. But if you watched the pod last year, I'm not a huge favorite better. So minus 330, I'm not going to be touching. But if I had to pick one, I'd go the Bills.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I wrote down one, like, my favorite bet for each division. I don't even have one for this one. It's like, there's nothing to even take here. So, yeah. Mikey, unless you have another comment.
all these teams we're all playing the NFC South. So we're all having 4 free games, or at least 3 free games, and then we're playing each other. So I think the Bills win 12, 13, 14 games, and the rest of these teams win 8 or 9, 7, 8 or 9. So, yeah, taking the Bills.
All right. We'll move on to the AFC North, starting with another strong playoff contender, always in there, the Baltimore Ravens. Didn't do much, short up the defense with Jair Alexander. Feels like the Ravens are one of those teams that always drafts well. Obviously, you still have the core of Lamar, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers on offense. Lamar, people might start asking questions if they can't get it done. Big legacy year for Lamar as always. But what are we feeling overall on this Ravens team? We'll start with you, Cam, here. What do you think? Bullish or bearish in the Ravens this season?
Yeah, I'm going bearish. I like the 11.5, even though it is one of the tougher divisions every year in football. This is one of the teams that's been a contender within, as I said, past 4 or 5 years with their quarterback really coming to their prime. But this team, I think, stands out in improving their team in the offseason. I really like Malachi Starks. They added D-Hop, which I don't really know how much that's really going to improve their offense. I mean, you've seen what he's done the past couple of years. But, I mean, when you have Lamar and Derrick Henry, it's very difficult to bet against them. And, I mean, they're one of the most complete teams in football. So, I mean, I'm very bearish on them overall. But I'm excited to – I mean, they're going to be one of the more fun teams to watch all year. And they're going to be pretty high spreads, I feel like. I know they're going to have some, like, a tough schedule being at the top of their division. But – I don't know. I mean, I also kind of think that the playoffs, so you have it minus 160 or 650. Okay.
Yep.
And then, we're doing the divisions after we do it each one. But yeah, I mean, I like Baltimore. I'm very bearish on them. One of the most complete teams, if not the best.
Well, if you liked them, you'd be bullish.
Excuse me?
Bullish is good. Bearish is bad.
Yeah.
You've been saying bearish. You like them or don't like them?
Oh, no. I thought I said bullish. Sorry. No. I'm definitely bullish on them.
All right. I was confused. All right, Michael.
Yeah, same for me. I'm lower on the rest of the teams in this division than probably consensus.
I love the Browns this year, man.
Yeah, true. But yeah, a lot of what Cam said is true. I think they're built for this style of NFL where they have the running quarterback. They have the run game, and they have enough weapons on the outside that they can get things done. And Lamar's proven that he doesn't turn the ball over in the regular season, and that's how they win games. So, yeah, I'm probably grabbing the over on this.
I'm bullish on the Ravens as well. Pretty good team is just going to keep being good unless the injury to Lamar or something happens. I mean, you have Cooper Rush as a backup, blah, blah, blah. But you guys said on all of it, I think the defense is going to be good as well. You have a good coach. So I agree. I think the Ravens, I mean, it's hard to pick one of these teams to be bad. And maybe we'll get to that with some NFC teams for me. But I like the Ravens this year as well. So with the number over 11.5, I'm going to take the under slightly. I don't like the high numbers. You guys know that. I think 11.5 is pretty high. So I'm thinking 10 or 11 wins for the Ravens this year. And we'll get into the division when we get to the division. But what do you guys think? Mike, you said the over already for the Ravens?
Yep.
Okay. Cam?
Yeah, I'm going over. I think this is, like I said, one of the most complete teams. I'm going probably 12 to 13. I know 12 is pretty close to that line, but I could easily see them even having 14 wins this year. One of my favorite teams to bet on with going into the year preseason. But
okay. We'll move over a little bit west to a team that was a big storyline last season. The Cincinnati Bengals always start off pretty slow. We'll see what happens this year. This is one of my favorite teams on the board right now. I'm very bullish on the Cincinnati Bengals. I know they don't have a defense, but maybe it's the quarterback. I did watch the quarterback show. Maybe it's the aura of Joe Burrow rubbing off on me, but I like this Bengals team. I think if they go 2-1 or 1-2, like they'll be a lot better positionally than last year. Like even though they had a bad year last year, they went toe to toe with some of the best teams in the NFL. I mean, you had the Chiefs lost; they lost by barely anything. Ravens, I think both those games were pretty close. So I like the Bengals a lot this year, and we'll get into some picks in a minute. But I love the Bengals. I'm very bullish on them, and brought everyone back. This T. Higgins thing was a problem. Got that fixed. Chase Brown is back. He's young. Jamar Chase, obviously top 2 or 3 or 1 wide receivers in the NFL. I think they got all the weapons. You can just keep playing offense, and I'm very bullish on the Bengals this season. So some surprise looks from the panel when I said that. So Michael, are you bearish or bullish on the Cincinnati Bengals in this 2025-2026 season?
I don't think they'll be as bad as they were last year. Last year was definitely brutal for them, but I don't think they're going to be much better. They didn't improve their defense at all. They might have gotten worse, and their offense is obviously elite. They have all the weapons you could ever want. And Joe Burrow is probably going to be, if they win 9-10 games and make the playoffs, Joe Burrow is probably going to be top 3 for MVP. But I don't see that happening. They've proven that they don't come into the season prepared, and you kind of need all your games in the NFL season. That's only 18 games. So, I'm not very high on this team.
Cam, break this out here.
yeah, no, I think I'm leaning Mikey. I'm a little bearish on Cincy. I do like them potentially to make the playoffs. I can see that happening. But at the same time, I think it's going to be a very similar year to last year, where they're either losing very close games, but they're scoring 45 points. And it's also a good comparison, like I just talked about with Baltimore, one of the most complete teams last year. I know they didn't have the postseason run that they wanted, but Cincy didn't have that playoff run, and they didn't make any improvements. Like, you even see some of these teams like Baltimore improving when they're already one of the best teams in the league. Meanwhile, Cincinnati, didn't make the playoffs last year, and if, kind of like Mikey said, I don't think they got better. If I think they're just stagnant. And until they make serious changes on that defense, which is going to be tough, obviously, with the extensions that they've made to the entire offense, they're going to be, I think, a borderline 9 to 8 win team. I know it's at 9.5. I can see them winning 9, maybe 8, maybe 10. It's a good line to bet, but I don't know. I'm kind of bearish, as Mikey said. I'm not fully convinced that they improved this offseason to make me think that they're going to win double digits this year.
I don't even think they need to improve, because you have a third place schedule, and if you could just stop fucking around at the beginning of the season, which may be too much to ask, then I think you can easily win 10 games. I'm taking the over. It's one of my favorite picks on the board. The first actual bet I'm throwing out there. I like this over. How can you be minus 140 to make the playoffs, but your over-under is 9.5? Doesn't really make sense to me. I'm going over 9.5 for the Cincinnati Bengals. What do you guys think about this over-under number here?
I'm going under. Kind of flirted with it earlier, but I have them as a playoff team. I want to chalk them in at 9-8 right now, which obviously is a positive record, over 500, but that's under the win total. I don't know. That's I think they're just going to be a middle of the pack team, and then maybe they fuck around and find out in the playoffs because you have one of the best quarterbacks, if not arguably the best quarterback in the league. I do like how Mikey pointed out, like if the Bengals do win that 10, 11, 12 games, Joe Burrow is probably top 3, if not the MVP. So if you're thinking that kind of scenario, parlay that with Joe Burrow, I mean, to win MVP, I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly have the exact same thing that Cam had. I have them under the 9.5, but making the playoffs as a 9-win team. So yeah.
I like the over, but I don't like the minus 140. Comment from the chat before we move to our next team. One of our biggest fans last season, Ali, says, "Don't worry, boys. I'll either catch the latter half of this or just rewatch the episode. Got to read 36 pages of civil procedure real quick. Don't let us hold you back from being great." Okay, next team, Cleveland Browns. A lot of chatter about this team in the offseason, you know, maybe due to one certain draft pick, which we can either discuss or just completely ignore. I'm fine with either. But not high expectations for this team. You know, they trade down, get a defensive guy in Mason Graham, trade down Travis Hunter, losing him potentially. And then, you know, the offseason is the offseason. Deshaun Watson's not playing this season. Joe Flacco will be the starting quarterback week 1. I don't know if there's any big personnel changes, but Cam, we can start with you here. Bullish or bearish in the Cleveland Browns for this season?
I mean, they're the Browns, so I'm always going to initially think bearish, but Flacco fucking scares me. I'm not going to lie to you. Flacco can sneak in a few wins every
Brought him
once
to
in a
the
while.
playoffs 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
that's what I'm saying. Like, he's proven to do it, too. Like, the thing is he's gone to the worst organization in sports and brought them to the playoffs. And I don't think they're playoff level, but I could see them getting over 4.5. With that being said, I think there is kind of a parallel to maybe like a Johnny Manziel type year when they drafted him. They had somebody else start the initial beginning of the season. Then they maybe force their hand if they're not really in playoff contention to play a Dylan Gabriel or a Shador Sanders.
They did that with Baker too.
Did they do that with Baker? I wasn't sure if they did start with Baker or if they played him later in the year, but I don't know.
Game 5 or game 4 or something like that. It was against the Jets. I remember it.
So I'm bearish on the Browns, but at the same time, if Flacco plays the entire year, I think they hit the over. But I just don't think that Flacco's going to play the whole year. So I'm going with the under on this one. Definitely not to make the playoffs. So
yeah, I'm actually kind of bullish on the Browns. I think still have a crazy defense. You still have Myles Garrett. Like, I remember if it was either 2 years ago or last year, they had that game against the 49ers where there's kind of like, I think they can kind of do that, like mud the game down, make it close against these high-level teams, and surprise a team like the Ravens or surprise a team like the Steelers. And I don't know, Joe Flacco playing quarterback, yeah, I think he is dangerous as always, and I don't think either Dylan Gabriel or Shador would be great in the NFL, at least in the first year, especially. So I think it's going to kind of depend and wait and see with this team because you don't really know what you're getting into. So I'm kind of bullish on them overall because just a lot of people think they're going to be bad, which makes sense. But I think they're going to be a little bit better than people expect because of that defense. So I'm a little bit bullish on them. Michael, what do you think about the Browns this season?
I'm agreeing with Cam again. I think they win 4 games. There's not really much else to say about them. I think they're going to be in the news a lot, and they're going to not win a lot of games. So,
okay. So you like the under. Cam's kind of undecided.
I'm going under right now because I'm expecting them to force their hand to play one of their rookies going into the middle of the season. But right now I'm taking the under. If Flacco plays, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to advise on taking the over or the under, but right now I'll take the under, assuming that Gabriel or Shador are going to play at some point.
Yeah, I'm kind of waiting on the over-under as well, but I would actually lean the over. I feel like 4.5 is a very low number.
Someone's got to do it.
It is a tough decision, so I think
Doug's the only person on FanDuel to bet the over on the Browns.
I might be like, that's when everyone's on one thing, you got to take the other thing. That's what the commentators are betting. Yeah. All right, we'll head to the last team. Michael, your quarterback is now on a new team from last year. It's this Pittsburgh.
Not my quarterback.
Yeah, stay bold.
You defended him a lot on the show last year.
I did, and I stand by all of it.
Okay, so will you stand by him while he's wearing black and gold for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I will not.
Okay. Heel turn.
Definitely be taking the under on this. even though they just win 9 games every year. I think they won't this year because I don't know. I feel like it's time for a change in Pittsburgh. They've been on this streak of winning 10 games or 9 games or whatever for a million years in a row, and sometime that's got to change. There's definitely personality situations happening there with Tomlin and Rodgers and DK and George Pickens not there any there, but yeah, so yeah, they've got a lot of stuff going on there, and Jets had a lot of stuff going on last year, and we see how that turned out. So,
indeed,
yeah, I couldn't agree more. This is one of the ones I'm definitely going to take as a bet is under 8.5.
I feel like that's a high number too, because like
exactly,
it's just based off Tomlin. That's the only
yeah.
And
exactly.
Well, Jalen Ramsey was also added to this team. We didn't mention,
but like that's not like a great signing. Like he's a fine.
It was a
player.
trade.
He's not whatever.
Yeah,
and they gave up Minka.
Yeah,
so tough acquisition. Okay,
I don't see this team because I feel like if you bet them to have 9 wins, you're expecting them to either make the playoffs or be one of the first teams out. I can't.
Which they have done the past like 3 or 4 years. I feel like every year they're the 7th seed and they just get blown out in the first game.
Agreed, but this also just reeks of the absolute firestorm ending the Aaron Rodgers career. I don't think that this. I think this is the last thing that you would want if I was a Steelers fan. I know a lot of Steelers fans are optimistic, but it's like you have one of the most consistent head coaches ever, and you have one of the most inconsistent like personalities as the quarterback of your team. We're coming into a completely new offense, got a completely new core of weapons around him. Defense looks a little bit different. TJ gets signed a little bit late. Maybe he comes a little slow to start the year. I just think nothing in the offseason other than maybe the Pickens trade, who's also a major personality, is beneficial to this team. I love the under of 8.5. I can't see them even sniffing the playoffs. This might be the absolute shit show that might even get Tomlin fired, which I highly doubt. But I don't know. I can just see this being the absolute disaster show that can end both Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers' career at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Maybe traded for Tomlin. He's been in a lot of trade talks over the past couple off seasons. But yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. I was kind of middling on this Pittsburgh team, but now you guys mentioned it, like there's just too many big heads in the room. I'm bearish on them, and
I feel like all the teams with like too much going on are the teams.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Aaron, if you bring in Aaron Rodgers in the year 2025, it's like you're just asking for it, and then you add in DK.
They remind me so much of that Jets team when they originally brought him in. I know it didn't. Well, obviously the first year he didn't play, but that second year was still the hype around the Jets. Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. He recovers way too quickly. And you still have that entire core that is ready to win. That's young, too. I mean, it seems extremely similar to what
this team feels a little older, though.
Yes, agreed. Yeah.
As for the number over 8.5, I'm just not touching it because I'm not going to doubt Mike Tomlin. I wouldn't be surprised if we're sitting here in 4 months and the Steelers have once again somehow gotten to 9 wins and they're the 7th seed again. I'm just not going to touch that number either way.
Who's their backup quarterback?
Mason Rudolph just signed this offseason.
Love that.
Mikey was asking for him to come in last year on the Titans, I remember. Well, we all hated Will Levis. But I don't know. I'm middling on them, and I'm just not going to touch the number because I don't want to like somehow be caught in the loop of Tomlin just keeping the streak going. So we're all kind of similar vibes in the Steelers. Looking at this division as a whole, you have the Ravens at a healthy -170 favorite. The Bengals, a little bit of an underdog right there, +280. Steelers looking a little bit higher of a number, +500. And then obviously the Browns are +4,000. So for me, the one bet that stood out is I'm a Bengals backer, is them to win this division, but I don't love it enough to take it. I think the Ravens are too much of a wagon, and I think if it comes down to like head-to-head stuff, I think the Ravens will win this division. So probably going to leave the division stuff alone here. If you guys had anything you wanted to touch on with division bets at all, or we can move on to the AFC South.
I kind of like the Ravens. So I haven't really looked into it because I was debating on looking into it before the pod, but I just didn't have enough time. Can you parlay division winners?
Yes, you can.
So
Friend of the pod,
I love the Ravens in a parlay with another team that I might bring up here in a second. But like I said, I think the Bengals are good enough to make the playoffs, but not good enough to win the division. Like you said, as the Ravens just absolutely carrying throughout the season, maybe even be the 1 seed overall. So I love the Ravens in a parlay, 170. Like I said, I'm not a huge favorite better straight up. So we'll see how that goes later in the pod.
Shout out to Rat. He loves to do the division winner parlays. He makes a bunch of them, and I think he maybe won one that made him a lot of money. Michael, any parting thoughts on the AFC North before we move to the South?
Nope. Okay. It's surprisingly low number for
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It could be a good parlay piece, but I think people in Vegas are expecting a lot of the Bengals this season. Okay, starting the AFC South, we have the team that's kind of ran the division the past 2 years, the Houston Texans. A lot of turnover for them on the offensive side. Stephon Diggs is out. Tank Dell is out for this season. Nico Collins is kind of that person there, but you bring in Christian Kirk. They drafted either one or two or both of the Iowa State guys at wide receiver. Joe Mixon, I just saw today he might not play football in 2025. So you have Damon Pierce and Woody Marks. Nick Chubb. I always forget about him too. So do you tread the tires and believe in a old injured Nick Chubb in this kind of Texans thing that kind of went downhill a little bit last year? Still made the playoffs, still won a game in the playoffs, but we'll start with you, Cam. What do you think about the Houston Texans this season?
I absolutely love the Houston Texans this year. I know I was giving a lot of hate to the NFC West last year. The one division I think is worse than the NFC West is the AFC South. I hate Indianapolis. I hate Jacksonville. I hate Tennessee with their quarterback. I think those might be, I know you probably lose one or two, but they potentially be 6 free wins depending upon the rest of your schedule. And CJ Stroud, I think after it's down year compared to his freshman year or his rookie year, I should say. But
well, remember this: we were crowning him like he was Jaden Daniels at the end of that season. So it was a slump for what we saw in his rookie year. I think that's fair to say.
Yes, absolutely. But at the same time, he had decent numbers. And if anything, I think he is one of the people that I would like to bounce back. I really like him coming into maturity this 3rd year, really looking for a big payday. He may be trying to get extension this coming off season or obviously the one after that. But, I mean, I think he's proven as the franchise quarterback of that team. I really like their weapons around him. I think plus 110, at least is what I had to win the division, is insanely short. It's crazy. I would expect that to be somewhat more than the Ravens number. Compared to the competition that Houston's playing with within that division, I don't know. I'm a huge Houston Texans guy this year, so very bullish.
I gotta say, man, I'm a little bearish on the Texans. I don't know. I just got weird vibes, and there's a lot of injury stuff going on. I mean, the defense is going to be good, but Stroud had some stinkers, man. And, I want to like him. He's a good guy, and Ohio State and all that, but I think this division is going to be a little bit more competitive. I'm putting a little bit of stock into these other teams in the division, which we'll get to in a second, but I don't think this is going to be the AFC South of the last couple of years. I think these teams will start to compete a little bit, so I'm not loving the Texans' odds. You got to play that first place schedule as well. So I'm a little bit bearish on the Texans this season specifically. Michael, break this tie. What do you think for the Texans here?
I would say I'm in between. I think a 10 win team.
You're 10, just
11. Yeah. I agree that I think Stroud's going to have a bounce back from what he was last year. I don't know if he'll be as good as he was his rookie year, but I think he'll be better. And they have the weapons on offense and enough pieces on defense. I think Stingley's top 3 corner in the league. I think they have the pieces to do it. It's just whether or not they can put it all together consistently like Stroud was his rookie year comparatively to his second year. I do have the over here, but I think it's going to be a low
close
number,
one.
10. They're sneaking by here.
I can see that. On this over-under, I'm on the leading under. I think they could still win the division at 9 and 8 it would be. But, I mean, I'm looking at their schedule right now. You got to play the Rams, the Bucks, and that's just your West Coast teams. Obviously you have the division games, the Ravens, Seahawks, 49ers, Broncos. I mean, there's no real Bills, Chiefs, Cardinals, Raiders, Chargers. It's a tough schedule, man. I think I'm grabbing the under here. I mean, I'm not playing it, but I would lean the under just because I think I have more faith personally in the AFC South this specific season, but that's where I'm at. So what do you think, Cam? Minus 130 playoffs too could be a nice, that's basically like a extended spread almost because
I'm not even taking that. I'm leaning one of the bets I'm actually placing is them to win the division straight up. Because if they're making the playoffs, in my opinion, they're going to be winning the division, which could be the same number. I don't know. But what I had was that plus 110 as of an hour ago on FanDuel. So I don't know. I mean, that's my favorite, one of my favorite picks within this division. So I'm very bullish on them. And then also I like the 9.5. I mean, like I said, I think they could probably sweep the entire division, which is unlikely, maybe 5 wins. But from there, you just need 5 wins somewhere else. You mentioned they're playing the NFC West. I fucking hate the NFC West. So, I mean, I don't know. I see a lot of potential wins there.
All right. Okay, so some very differing opinions on the Texans across the board. We'll move to a team in the middle of Indiana, the Indianapolis Colts. Some Anthony Richardson haters in this podcast. It's okay. You guys won the day. He's not starting. It's going to be Daniel fucking Jones starting as a quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. I'll start this one out.
How bad did Anthony Richardson have to be?
No, I think it's crazy because I've gone on this rant before. And I'm not gonna just do it again because it's obvious. Like give these guys some time to develop, especially when you're starting them right off the jump. But
if he's just
it's when he gave up on the play. That's it. His career is done. He's got to find a new place.
I don't think that's it. I think it's like a continuing thing throughout practice and training camp and everything that he's just inconsistent and it's just.
In my humble abode, all public opinions and even personnel opinions of him died in that moment of him not going for whatever or him subbing out that one play. Fair or not fair, I think that's what happened. That being said, if Daniel Jones is the quarterback of this fucking team, I'm bearish on the Colts. This will be healed by something I say later, but I'm bearish on this team. I mean, it just is asking for a blow up. We're in year 2. I think it's year 3 of Shane Steichen. The GM is like maybe got fired or didn't get fired, but it's like, what are they doing? You have the good wide receivers and Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce.
And they're trying to trade him too.
Yeah, A.D. Mitchell and Jonathan Taylor is one of the better running backs in the league. And there's like some defensive weapons or some defensive pieces as well. And you go out and sign Daniel Jones and make him the starter. Like at least let Richardson fuck up again, in my opinion. But I'm bearish on this team. I do think they will be competitive as always. Like the Colts are always, unless they're fucking starting or benching Peyton Manning and just tanking on purpose, they're always competitive in these games, and that's undeniable. So I think they'll be competitive, but I'm bearish overall on this Indianapolis Colts team for this season.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very bearish. Whether it be a Anthony Richardson or Daniel Dimes.
Daniel Dimes.
I honestly, it baffled me when they made that decision. Like Mikey said, how bad was the vibe around Anthony Richardson throughout training camp where you have to announce – they were one of the first teams, I believe, to announce their starting quarterback. And it really didn't – I didn't hear much – like, sure it was flirted with, but I thought it was just like overhyped training camp type like noise. But no, like they were one of the first people to come out, hey, Daniel Jones is going to be our starting quarterback. And that does just not seem like a good recipe for success. I'm very anti this entire rest of the division. I hope Tyler Warren does pretty well. I think I have him in one of my fantasy leagues, but it's going to be tough with Jones in the backfield as the quarterback. But I don't know, very bearish on them.
Michael?
Yeah, I have nothing else to say about them. Okay. I think they're going to be big-time sellers at the deadline because they have pieces that a lot of other teams would want. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I could also see them just flipping back and forth like they did last season, which was absurd concept that they did. Yeah. Just like starting Richardson and starting Flacco. I could see them doing it with Daniel Jones as well this season. As for the over-under, I'm taking the under.
Last year, or was that 2 years ago?
That was last year. I'm taking the under 7.5. It's one of my favorite unders on the board. I just, I think this division is going to be better, and I've kind of alluded to that. So I think obviously the other two teams are going to be better that we haven't talked about yet, but we'll get to them in a second. I just think 7 is a high number for them, especially with what we've seen at quarterback, especially with Daniel Jones. It's just like maybe there's, I'll save that spiel for later, but I'm taking the under 7.5
Couldn't
as an
agree more.
actual, I'm recommending that bet as well.
Same here. I'm taking that. Probably placing it immediately after the pod.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. All in agreement, we don't think the Colts will do well this season. How about a Floridian team, the Jacksonville Jaguars? New coach, new toy to play with, Travis Hunter playing both sides of the ball. Kind of a drama coach search where they were the ones who ended up getting Liam Cohen. Not a bunch of
Cam's here. I don't know how that happened, but I'll take it.
We got effects happening in the background here. Not a ton of moves here, but what do you think, Cam? You were shaking your head for the Jaguars.
Yeah. As I kind of preface, I'm anti the entire AFC South. I'm very curious to see how the Jags fuck up Travis Hunter. I think this might be like a 2-year stint, and Travis Hunter's like, I need to get the fuck out of here. I don't know. I honestly am more bearish on them than I am the Colts, if that's possible. But that's not even the team I'm most bearish on in the entire division. So I'm anti-AFC South other than CJ. So
okay. Is this going to be the new hate division week to week?
I think they're just adding on to the NFC West because I also still hate the NFC West. I think I always have to hate them.
When we're podding in 5 years, you're just going to only like 2 divisions every year. Add one to
There's 4 other ones.
Okay.
I'm going to take the bullish side of the argument on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I think it's solely because of the head coach turning Baker into a almost 5,000-yard passer last year and having one of the best offenses. I think it's going to do well for Trev, and after having horrible coaching for the past 4 years and getting that big contract probably wasn't the best move for them as a team, but he got it and they're going all in with Trev. And I think the head coach is basically the biggest reason that I picked them here.
Interesting. I'm bullish as well, but I'm more on the side of them just having a bounce back year. Like we've seen them make the playoffs with Trav. I think he's shown that potential to at least be like a borderline top 10, top 15 quarterback. So if
even the year they made the playoffs, he wasn't very good.
Yeah. So if he can unlock some of that potential, he was paid like he's a fucking beast. So I'm pretty bullish on this team. I like the coaching change, and I'm just kind of banking on Trev to get it back in blood and, Travis Hunter to be like this amazing.
Brian Thomas is going to be.
Yeah. Dynasty. I did a dynasty draft fantasy segment of the week. I had a dynasty draft. Brian Thomas is my 2nd round pick. So he better be good because I've got him on my team for years. But I like what they have going on. I mean, you have Brian Thomas, you have maybe Etienne can bounce back. Maybe Trevor Lawrence can bounce back. Maybe the defense can bounce back. I'm thinking, they can kind of beat up on the Colts and the Titans maybe, and then split with the Texans. So I'm bullish on them. And I do like the over 7.5. I think they can be an 8-9 win team, be in that wild card picture come January and February. So
I'm taking the playoff number.
Plus 180. Michael's on the board here for Jags to the playoffs. I love it. Cam's shaking his head. We know he hates this division now too.
Last team in.
I'm guessing you're taking the under as well.
Yeah, give me the under. If you can parlay, I don't know if you can parlay win totals, but I might parlay the bottom 3. Yeah, I might bottom 3 under on Colts, Jags, and the next team we're going to talk about because this is going to be an absolutely disgusting year. But
I have the over on all of those teams except the Colts.
You're a psychopath.
Here we go. A team that was
it's 6.5.
A team that was banned from this podcast. We had to fade them every single week. The Tennessee Titans. Before they even play a snap of football this season, new quarterback, not new coach, but new quarterback, you're putting them automatically back on the ban list.
You can put this at fucking 4.5, please. And thank you. Rookie quarterback going to an absolute shit show. Definitely give me the under. I don't really know how much more I can elaborate on that.
Okay. Michael, you were seemingly a little higher on them.
What? What did you say about me?
You were a little higher than Cam is on the Titans.
I think it has to do with the fact that they're a good football team other than Will Levis. And Will Levis is no longer the Tennessee Titans starting quarterback. And if Cam Ward is
can't even be the quarterback.
If Cam Ward is the 25th best quarterback in the league, I think they win over 5.5 games because that's how bad Will Levis was last year. Like, actually, probably the 50th best quarterback in the NFL.
I think you got Will Levis 2.0 right there sitting.
What makes you say that?
I think that's just.
I think you've got blinders on, Cam.
I think you got blinders on.
It's easy to say.
Touching them. I'm never touching.
You need to go on a wellness retreat, go into the dark with Aaron Rodgers, forget last season. This is a new season. I'm with you, Mikey. I think I'm bullish on this Titans team. And there's been a lot of chatter about the Titans. I've been seeing online, like people think they're sneaky. They might.
I think they're going to win 6 games or 7 games. I think I'm not saying they're going to win.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at Cam. I agree, because just like the Colts, the Titans, before they had Will Levis and were one of the worst teams in the NFL and were an auto fade, they were a team that always keeps it close in games.
Yeah, and their defense is still good. They have players.
Yeah.
Is there a mute button on this?
We can mute you. Well, people forget Calvin Ridley is still there. Tony Pollard. It's an older offensive thing, which I think could also help Cam Ward. You have like Van Jefferson, Tyler Lockett, Calvin Ridley.
Do you hear who we're naming
Tony
right
Pollard.
now?
Yes.
This is insane.
Yes.
A 7-win team?
I didn't say that. I said bullish overall.
Under 6.5.
And I'm probably taking the under, but I'm bullish on them overall.
How is that? Okay. Because
last year they were the worst team in football, and we faded them every single week and won. Like that's you realize how crazy that is. You could just say, the Titans are plus 17.5 against the Lions, and we're just gonna take the Lions and automatically win. That is not happening again this year. Like last year, I think last year we're gonna look. This year is gonna be rough. We're gonna look at last year and be like, that was a fever dream of a year, where things like went kind of expectedly, where you could kind of predict what was gonna happen. I'm telling you, this sport's going to get batshit this year, and I think the Titans will be a part of it. I think they're going to surprise some teams, especially in this AFC South, where the Colts are on their level, the Jaguars are a step up, and then the Texans maybe are a step or two above. I think this is going to be a very competitive division. I wouldn't be surprised. Hot take, Week 18, there's 2 of these 4 teams playing in the Sunday Night Football for the division. One of those like winner. We've seen that before with this division.
I think this division is very similar to the AFC East. One team that's definitely above, and then the rest of the teams are
disagree.
on the same level.
I agree with you, but that would prove to my point, I think.
You think all the Pats, Dolphins, and Jets are going to win 6 games?
Not necessarily, but I think they're significantly below the Bills.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. I'm agreeing with you.
Maybe I'm not understanding the bearish and bullish shit. Like, are you talking about the bearish and bullish on the spread game by game, week by week?
Just what you think about the team overall. Like last year, the Titans were the floor of the league. I'm more bullish on that.
I don't think the Colts, the Jags, or the Titans get 6 wins this year.
Jags would be impressive.
I'll book it. I'm doing it right after this.
All right.
Make that
focus 5.
Make that parlay.
Focus 5 right there. That's number
1. All right. A very interesting AFC South discourse here, where I'm sensing an NFC West fade them no matter what type vibe from Cam. That could either hurt you or help you. So we'll just look at this division overall. I had the Texans at plus 100. This was on Sunday. My favorite pick here is the Jaguars plus 300. I think they could potentially unseat the Texans of anything. I'm not going to take it, but that's my favorite pick of this board. The Colts at plus 400 feels a little bit ridiculous. And then also the Titans at plus 650. I think this is going to be between the Texans and the Jaguars. Jaguars are at a very high number for what I would look at. So I think that's a good bet to make if you're trying to make money here. So that's just what I'm thinking. Anything on this division? Cam, you said parlay maybe with the Ravens, Texans here?
Yeah, I got a parlay that I'm going to save, I think. It might be a 4-legger, but the Texans will be a part of it. I might do Texans straight up on my own because I feel like that's absolutely the steal of the entire board is plus 100 with 3 of the arguably worst teams in the entire league.
Okay. Michael, any bets you're looking at here for the division?
No.
Okay.
Texans are going to win the division, though.
We're headed.
And I think that Texans are going to win the division, and I think the Jaguars will be the 7th team in.
Love that. I actually love that. Okay, we'll head out west, starting with a team that was the last team to make the playoffs of the AFC, the Denver Broncos. Minus 155 to make the playoffs. Sophomore year of Bo Nix. either year. I think this is year 3 of Sean Payton. Correct me if I'm wrong. What do we think about the Broncos this year?
They're terrible.
Michael, you've been a Broncos hater. I think it still stems from that Nathaniel Hackett nonsense, but go ahead, give us your take.
I'm not a Broncos hater per se, but I think I'm a fade the people kind of hater right now. And I feel like in a normal year, they're not going to lie. They have a good team. They made some good moves. They have a very good defense. But I don't know. It feels really tough for me to get this team to 10 wins. So yeah, they have a lot of hype, and maybe rightfully so. I could be proved wrong, but sophomore slump's a real thing. And Jarrett Stidham is a baller.
I didn't know Stidham was the backup.
Stidham reference. He didn't get
have to go a different direction.
They made him, Bo Nix, and Zach Wilson made TikToks last season with their girlfriends. It went viral.
Yeah,
okay,
come on.
Never mind. I'm back on the under. I'm back on the under. No, yeah. If Mikey's all done, yeah, I'm very anti-Broncos. I don't know about. I don't know. I just think 9.5 is a lot. I want to say bearish on the bet, but sure, they could win 9 games. Like, it's very possible, but just the surrounding hype. Mikey mentioned the sophomore slump. Play in a difficult division, especially with the Raiders coming back. I mean, I'm not as high as the Raiders, but some people are. I don't know. It's a difficult, bet to make. I think they put that line perfectly, but 10 wins puts them as a playoff team, I think, in my opinion. And I just don't foresee them being a playoff team currently. So I'm taking the under on this one.
Yeah, I'm bearish and under as well. And I was considering putting them as one of my last playoff teams, which we'll get to. We'll see if I did it. But I'm bearish in the team overall. I think you have sophomore slump, Bo Nix, although he is like 25. I just don't think it could go as well as last year, where you had either a last place or third. I guess they still will have a third place schedule. But I don't know. I think the hype is too real, and they had a really good defense last year, but can that translate to this year where is Sean Payton's an offensive coach, right? Yeah, so I don't know if that'll continue. I mean, you still have the same players in Surtain and the other guy who's in Rookie of the Year or in Defensive Player of the Year. That's slipping my mind right now. Yeah, but I don't see it. I think this is a well-placed number by Vegas. I could see them getting 8 or 9 wins, but I'm on the under as well. I know Cam alluded to the under as well. Mikey, are you on the under 9.5 here as well?
I'm also on the under.
Okay.
I feel like that's going to be a maybe more popular pick than people think based on the national media hyping them up so much.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to place it just because I could see them I'm not going to be like for sure the Broncos won't be good, but I'm just.
Well, I feel like it depends on how good the Chiefs are and how good the Raiders are. Like, I feel like if the Chiefs fall off a little bit, which is entirely possible, they could hit that number. But
good segue. Kansas City Chiefs. Once again, it was 3 Super Bowls in a row. Lost the third one. Got absolutely blown out. We didn't even talk about that game because we weren't covering the Super Bowl, or we didn't have it after Super Bowl pod. But
media credentials for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, Travis Kelce had some important news happen yesterday that I'm sure everyone heard about. He's now engaged to Taylor Swift's. Considered retirement, but he's back. It's this same old Chiefs team with some new tricks. I mean, Rashee Rice has the suspension thing going on.
7 games, I think, right?
Yes, I think it's 6, but I mean, you kind of just have
He'll be back week 7, yeah.
You have Juju, Marquise Brown, Xavier Worthy, and Tyquan Thornton actually made the Chiefs roster for those ball knowers out there.
He's talking electric, and it's going to suck for Patriots fans.
Yeah, he's going to be nice. So what do we think about the Chiefs this year, Michael? You know, I feel like you had a lot of, strong takes, but you were kind of a Chiefs supporter last year. Do you think you're going to be as strong a supporter this year? Are you bullish or bearish on the Chiefs?
I think that I'm always going to be bullish on the Chiefs until their head coach and quarterback are no longer on the team.
What if one goes and the other stays?
I don't think that'll happen unless Andy Reid retires in this offseason.
Yeah.
Which I could see happening because he's one of the older coaches. But yeah, I mean, I have them winning a bunch of games this year, mostly because they're going to do whatever they can, and the NFL is going to do whatever they can to keep them in the headlines and keep them winning games, just like last year. They were like 10-9-1 or something in one-score games last year, something crazy like that. I don't know if that keeps up, but they still have the roster. They still have the personnel to win all those games. So, yeah, I'd say I'm bullish on them. And how can you? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like Mikey said, how can you not? And when you're bullish on the Chiefs and you have Patrick Mahomes, you have the fuel of Four Loko, our official sponsor of the Dubcast. Shout them out. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are also well-known Four Loko supporters, so go ahead and buy
I did
them.
hear that.
Go to your local 7-Eleven, Shell, and go get one. But yeah, I mean, like
this is not a paid promotion. I don't know if I need to say that or what the legalities are of this.
All right, but no. Like Mikey said, it's same thing as the Bills. Like when you have that quarterback in place, I know they have a head coach advantage over the Bills, but how can you not be bullish on them? I'm taking the over on this. I think you're going to have to dethrone the Chiefs, especially within the division. Not even just the division, but the conference, to even consider them as a bearish team. I know they have a difficult schedule, being as a first place team within the division. I mean, they are the defending AFC champions. As much as I hate to say it, like they're making a run very similar to as what me and Dub experienced in our Patriots run. But it's kind of how people bet it against Tom Brady. Like you don't do that, and you have to wait until he is done until you can bet against him. So I'm taking the over on this. I'm very bullish on them throughout the entirety of the season.
I'm bearish. Everything has to come crashing down to earth. Even the Patriots had bad years. I think Travis Kelce is on the edge of retirement. Somebody's got to figure this team out, and you can't. I mean, I feel like the Vikings a couple years ago were that team with Kirk Cousins when they had a crazy year where like they won every game, one possession, then the next year they'd make the playoffs because it's just not going to go that same way. And I know this is the Chiefs, it's Andy Reid, it's Mahomes, whatever. I'm for the people. I think, let's have an entertaining season and not rig this shit just because Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are going to get married and she's going to do the halftime show and he's going to be like retire after they win the Super Bowl this year. Under. Bearish.
What if the halftime show is just their wedding? That would be fucking electric.
A 40-minute wedding, then he puts the uniform back on, scores the game-winning touchdown. That would be really storybook, wouldn't it? No, I'm out on this Chiefs team. I think this division actually got a lot better. The Broncos are pretty good, and the Broncos are. I mean, every team in this division plays the Chiefs close, but the Broncos have really good defense. The Raiders have like an actual quarterback now, which we'll talk about in a second. Chargers, a year or two of Harbaugh and figuring things out there. So I think it's gonna be a tough road for the Chiefs. I think they make the playoffs. I don't know if they'll win the division though, but we'll talk about that in a second. I'm bearish on the Chiefs, and I may just fall into the same traps, but if we get back to the playoffs, I'll probably just keep betting Mahomes because that seems to work. So that's where I'm at with the Chiefs. We'll move on to Las Vegas. New coach. It's an old man, Pete Carroll, back from
it's an old man
being exiled in Seattle. He finds a home in Las Vegas and brings I think he coached, brings him over. And now you have Ashton Genty, one of the more electric draft picks in the first round. Brock Bowers is the best tight end in the league, arguably right now. And so you have him, Genty, Jacoby Myers wanted to trade, but the offense looks revamped. The defense actually held up somewhat well, where the Raiders defense has been notably horrible for the past couple years. And last year actually were able to be middle of the pack. So what do we think about this Raiders team? Cam, we can start with you here.
Yeah. This is an interesting team to me because I can see it being either boom or bust, no in between. I'm thinking this is a less than a 6.5 win team. And honestly, that's mainly me banking on a win week 1 against the Pats. But I think they play in a very difficult division. That's going to be a tough 6 games. Hopefully the Patriots makes it a tough 7. I went through the rest of their schedule. I think I had them at 5, maybe 4. But like you said, it is a revamped offense. At the same time, you got a brand new head coach, brand new quarterback. I know they've had a connection previously. However, you still have a completely new offense around him. Defense, I'm not fully 100% on, like Dub said, they had a little stability going into the year, but also, I mean, I feel like the Raiders have just been kind of out of it for the past. I mean, I don't even know when they've been relatively in contention. I don't think since
They made the playoffs a couple years with Carr.
Yeah, I mean, but that was, I mean, yeah, it's a different team. I mean, I don't know. I think that's kind of one of those prove it to me kind of teams where it's like, I'm probably going to bet against you until you show me that you can actually win against somewhat competitive teams. So I'm taking the under 6.5. Seems like a decent amount. I can see him at 6, honestly. But like I said, I can't see him being. They could also be potentially maybe like a 9 or 10 win team and flirting with the playoffs. I don't know. Like maybe Gino and Pete reconnect and have that year, as Dub said, with all the weapons around him. But for now, kind of going with the under. Kind of bearish on him.
Yeah, I'm like in the middle. I think they could be like what the Seahawks were and just be like 7 or 8 or 6 wins. And I think the AFC is tougher than the NFC. So I like the under, but I like them to also have 6 wins. I think it'll be a fun year where you have Brock, you have Genty, and then Gino's kind of in his older stages of being a quarterback. So they'll probably get yourself, I'd mentioned the names before, but you can get one of those guys. And this will be a fun season where you have Pete Carroll, and maybe you can do something next year, the year after. He develops a guy. I don't know, but I'm kind of bearish on them just because I think this is a very tough division. I think arguably the toughest division in the AFC. Maybe actually I think it is just the toughest division in the AFC right now. So I like this under, or I don't love it, but I would take the under for them to have 5 or 6 wins because one of these teams has to bottom out kind of. You can't really have all 4 teams be super competitive. And Gino as a quarterback, I'm kind of questioning if he's even top 20, 25 right now. It's a good acquisition because like no one thought he was available, and they were going to maybe try and do a draft pick, got screwed over there. But I think this will be a fun Raiders team, and I think the Raiders are actually always pretty fun, believe it or not, besides the occasional blowout. So I think this will be a fun season monitoring them, but I got the under, and I'm a little bit bearish on them. So Michael, what do you think about these Raiders?
Yeah, I feel like I have too many wins in this division right now. I have them over, but I don't know. I might switch my pick to the under. I don't know. It's weird for me because I like the fact that they got an actual head coach and an actual quarterback that is an NFL quarterback, not AOC and whatever they're called. Yeah, and their head coach from last year.
Antonio Pierce.
Yeah. And I like that, and they do have weapons on offense. I feel like rookie running backs are undervalued in terms of like betting. I feel like they often have a lot better years than people think they will just because they got young legs and whatever. So I feel like Genty's going to have a really good year, and if Jacoby Myers stays, they have a decent enough wide receiver core.
Amari Cooper signed yesterday.
He's washed. Yeah, so I feel like I'm kind of higher on the Raiders than a lot of people, but I feel like I have too many wins in this division, so I might switch it to the under and take 6 wins there.
Last team is the Chargers. Made the playoffs, lost pretty embarrassingly. I think Herbert threw 4 or 5 picks in that game. Come back this season fresh. Made a couple moves. I mean, you bring in Najee, lose J.K. Dobbins, some defensive pieces, bring back Khalil Mack, bring some other guys in. So
lose Joey Bosa.
Yeah, but
the Bills.
They kind of had the contract thing going on. I really like this Chargers team. This is one of my favorite teams coming into the year. Honestly, the 9.5 is so tough because I would slam the over 8.5. Their schedule, if you look at it, is actually very, very easy. That might be due to them playing they're playing a second place schedule. So maybe, I don't know what is made it easy, but I think it's doable. And I really wanted to do it before the Rashawn Slater injury, but that kind of made me take a step back. But I don't want to overanalyze injuries, so I'll still probably bet the over 9.5. I just am really high on Harbaugh as a coach, and also I really like Justin Herbert, so I think this is gonna be a good year for the Chargers. And we'll get into the next semi-segment, but I think there might be a little sneaky pick for the division here. I like the Chargers this year a lot. They're definitely my second or first favorite team in this division right now. What do you think, Cam? You're nodding your head in agreement.
Yeah, I am. I'm also very bullish on this Chargers team. I don't know if they're good enough to compete for that division overall, as I had the Chiefs over 11.5. But I like them to make the playoffs. I like them making a run. Like you said, you've talked about Harbaugh. Hopefully, Herbert can make a step up to actually winning games as opposed to just showing his talent with his arm. I just think that their team overall can present a lot of problems within that division. I do like their ground and pound style, but then also with that ground and pound style, you have one of the most electric arms in the game. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play this year. I assume it's going to be similar to last year, but I'm going to take the over on the 9.5. I originally had it at 9, but I still took the over. I mean, I think this is a 10-win team. That's what I had them at when I was going through it game by game. So, I mean, they might be flirting with that over-under, but I think this team could make the playoffs and then not really make a lot of noise. Like, they're kind of on that fringe middle tier compared to, you know, your Kansas City Chiefs, Buffalo Bills, Ravens in the AFC. But at the same time, they're not – I don't think they're not a playoff team. I can see them getting in. So I'm going to go with the over and the overall bullish on the Chargers.
Michael?
I'm recanting my former statement about the Raiders. I'm taking the over on the Raiders. And I'm taking the under on the Chargers here. I think they're going to be the first team out. What a turn. I think they're going to be the first team out. I think the Rashawn Slater injury is big. First team out of the playoffs, like they were the 8th team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, how would they get eliminated before like the fucking...
Oh, yeah. Come on. Block it.
First team out. It's very...
You're a college basketball guy. Yeah, first 4 out. What are we talking about?
All right. That's a different show.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like I'm lower on Herbert because of his lack of winning. And I mean, he is a very talented quarterback, but he's shown that he can throw for a lot of yards and touchdowns and win not a lot of games. And this is over-under wins. So I'm taking the under on their wins. I think they're going to get to 9. I think it'll probably come down to the last week. I don't know who they're playing week 18, but
pull it up, Jamie.
All right, Joe. So yeah, I mean, they've always been a team of not great defense and decent offense, and I don't think that's changed. I don't like the swap for Najee from
DK or JK.
Yeah, JK. Like that doesn't do anything for me. It's probably worse.
Downgrade.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
But yeah, to answer your question, actually a lot of on the line week 18 at Denver.
That could be your Sunday night that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, that's going to be like your fringe 9 to 10 win season right there. And that also is kind of what we talked about in the previous team with Denver a couple teams ago. But
okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like Mikey kind of just shifted against the crowd here, which I respect. That's what you got to do. Before we get to the division odds, we have a popular chatter back in the chat. Once again, feels like we're playing the hits this stream with all the different commenters. It's
not this fucking guy, dude.
Don't worry, he's coming after the easy common target. McGann looks stupid. Why does he look like an Australian? He discovered football but only knows one player. I literally had this look like every pod last offseason. Last comment, heard McGann loves cutlets and meatballs. Fuck you.
Okay.
I already had the DeVito rant earlier. You can go and check that out.
I am getting like a football Crocodile Dundee kind of vibe out of you.
Listen, I'm in Australia. I stay up till fucking 4 a.m. to watch my Patriots, okay?
There you go. We're back.
All right. AFC West. You guys pretty much like the Chiefs. The one I'm looking at here is the Chargers. I think if the Chiefs do have a downfall, Chargers at plus 350 feels like a pretty high number. If we were all kind of a little bit bearish on the Broncos, but I think my bet here would be the Chargers. I don't know if I'll actually take it. Probably not. I don't really like the division winners as a bet, but any final thoughts on the AFC West here as we segue to the other side of the league?
So I'm not going to take this separate, but I'm going to round out an AFC division winner parlay as part of that main focus group because I got really angry after the Houston Texans talk. I'm going to do Buffalo, Baltimore, Houston, and Kansas City. All the favorites.
So the same 4 division winners will just win the division again.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I prove me to I'm wrong. I mean, the only one I'm somewhat concerned about is going to be the AFC North. I mean, the West, the Chargers would be my pick, as I kind of mentioned. I'm bullish on them. But the North, the Cincy, maybe if Joe Burrow plays, like Mikey says, a top 3 MVP candidate, and their defense holds them to less than 30 a game, if that's possible. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, the odds on that, like Baltimore's only minus 160. I had Kansas City at minus 105, Houston plus 110. Those 3 alone are going to be probably plus 5, and then you had Buffalo maybe plus 6 or 7. I mean, that's a decent bet right there. I think, but
teach their own. One more comment before we get to the NFC. Megan. Don't know what that means.
Awesome. Fucking crowd roaring right there. Keep the comments flowing.
All right, we're back to NFC. We got to kind of speed up to NFC because we have a lot to get to, and we've been running for a long time. NFC East. Dallas Cowboys, same old story, 8.5. Bad year last year. Cam's putting the thumbs down. Mikey's putting the thumbs down. I'll put the thumbs down as well. I'm bearish on them. Re-sign Micah. They'll probably do it like tomorrow, but I don't know. Don't love the outlook of this Cowboys team, especially after what we've seen the past couple of years.
Dak, comeback player of the year, maybe?
Stop it.
He's a candidate because he got hurt, because I guess that's what you need to do to win the reward. Yeah, I mean, you extend your guys, and they got the Jake Ferguson contract done. So I guess that's something that happened for the Cowboys. So I'm on the under. I'm pretty bearish on the Cowboys. It's just hard to be a believer in this team after, it feels like the owner kind of doesn't give a shit about actually winning and just more cares about the drama and headlines. You sign guys like Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams to be your running backs. It's like, okay, you don't care about this team. You're just being petty with your money. So I'm bearish. 8.5 is a good number just because the NFC is like a competitive thing, but I would lean on the under here as well.
Yeah, you kind of wrapped it up. I'm definitely bearish on them taking the under. One of the ones I probably am going to place going into the season. Honestly, not very confident in their ability to win games throughout especially in a division that's known to be very difficult to play against each other. So,
agreed.
You don't think Brian Schottenheimer is going to be coach of the year?
No, I don't think he's going to be a difference maker at all. I think they're going to be a shit show no matter what with Jerry Jones at the helm.
Okay. Michael, final thoughts on the Cowboys?
No final thoughts. Just that we'll win less than 7.5.
Not sure who this comment's referring to. I remember my first beer.
Probably me, seeing how I'm drinking the Quattro, but
he's drinking a Four Loko, not a beer, idiot. Next team, the New York Giants. Greg Small is actually a fan of this team. Over-under is very low, but you look at this schedule, it's a fucked schedule. It's a fucked schedule. So as always, I'm gonna have to be bearish in the Giants. I do kind of like Russ, and I like him throwing the deep ball to like these Jalen Hyatt, Wan'Dale Robinson, Malik Neighbors types. I think they'll be more competitive, more fun. Maybe Jameis gets in there, maybe Jackson Dart gets in there, but I just don't see them winning over 5 games. It's gonna be, I think it's gonna be a fun season for Giants fans, especially because they're kind of in the same boat as us, where like maybe they'll pull off a crazy win against like the Eagles or something, and you can kind of hang your hat on that, but I have to take the under. It's just the schedule is fucked, and I don't know. I just don't love like their roster as a whole competing against the rest of this NFC East, especially, and then just their schedule in general. So, Cam, you were kind of nodding your head in agreement there.
Yeah, I like you said, I was mainly looking at the schedule. I wasn't a huge fan of their roster going into the year, and then you look at that schedule, and it's very difficult to pick out wins. Maybe you scrap a couple of divisions just because it's that division. But maybe they make a play at Jackson Dart later on in the year, very similar to how the Pats did with Drake May. After learning that Greg Small is a Giants fan, I'm hammering under on 5.5 wins.
Spite bet.
Exactly.
He wants to take the over. He was telling my friend they were going to take the over.
That's crazy. They'll probably end up with the number 1 pick this year. But, yeah, I'm very bearish on them.
What I want to have happen is, I don't know if Arch is coming out next year or this year, but they're all obsessed with the Mannings. So I want them to like have the number 1 pick and not be able to pick Arch Manning because they have Jackson Dart. That'll be hilarious.
That would be perfect. Yeah.
That'd be cinema. Michael, we haven't heard your thoughts about the other New York team. What do you think about the Giants this season?
I think that they will win more than 5.5 games.
Oh,
this guy, Trent's okay.
I think that, yeah, I mean, they do have a tough schedule, but I'm looking at it right now. They play the Raiders, the Bears, the Saints. That's kind of all their easy games. But
all 3 of them.
If you can't get those teams you named, you're bullish on, as in the Raiders.
Yeah, hell yeah. But yeah, I mean, they have a good defense. I think their front 5, their defensive line is probably top 2 or 3 in the league. I think what's his name, Carter's going to be probably a lot for the defensive rookie of the year. Yeah, so I mean, good luck to them. I hope they don't win any games, but I think that they might win. I think 5.5 is like a good number for them. That's probably around there, 6 or 5.
Okay. Well, Greg Smalls left us a warning message. When Dart goes in, be prepared at NFL.
Okay.
And of course, back to the OG days team. I love Mike. Cam, not a fan of you. Oh, here we go. Then look who else has popped back in the chat. Hello, Greg. Okay. Defending Super Bowl champions in Philadelphia. Over-unders at 11.5. Are we bullish or bearish on the Eagles Super Bowl hangover ? Or is it going to be a repeat? Michael, we'll start with you here. What do you think about the Eagles this season?
Yeah, I've taken the over on every last year's division winner. And I think I'm going to do it again here. Probably a bad idea, but
4 new teams every year makes the playoffs. Just saying for you guys.
That's what they say. Okay. But yeah, so I mean, I don't think they got worse. They lost a few offensive line pieces. Defensive line guys retired, a couple of them, but overall, I know Eagles fans hate Sirianni for some reason, but
I think that's kind of subdued now.
Well, I mean, once they lose like a week 4 game against the Raiders or something, they're gonna.
The Raiders. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna take the over here. I don't think it'll be as dominant as they were. I feel like they were dominant last year, all the way through the year. But yeah, I think they'll still be a great team, probably top 3 or 4 team in the NFC. Yeah.
So I'm in the same boat as Mikey, where I picked the division winners on their over, obviously all in the AFC. I'm going against that now. I have them at 11 wins, maybe even 10. Still see them coming out of the division, kind of hinting at probably the next team. Yeah, the next team that we're going to talk about. A little bit of a Super Bowl hangover, but at the same time, I think it'll wake them up for the playoffs, maybe make another deep playoff run. I don't know about a Super Bowl, but I mean, obviously the talent on that roster, you can't deny. But at the same time, there's other factors playing into it, and especially the teams that they're playing against are going to be tough competition. I'm going with the under, but still overall bullish on them week by week, if that's how we're doing the bullish bearish.
I'm in the same. You just said it perfectly. I'm bullish on them. I think they'll be just as good as last year, maybe slightly worse just because of the Super Bowl hangover, but I don't think they're going to get to 11.5 wins. I'm taking the under 10 or 11 here for them. While Cam goes to get something, we'll read through the chat. This is a cool crown I have. Yeah, taking a look at the YouTube chat, there's some crowns in the chatters. Who's the number 1 commenter? And I don't know, there's like a top fan leaderboard. You get XP. So pretty cool to see. Maybe it'll carry over week by week. I don't know how it works. This is my first time with the new system. Allie got to number 2 now. Let's go. And then Greg said, my number 1 always, yes, I will be. And then said, fuck this chat. And I think he left the stream. So I don't know. Well, he's going to miss out on the last NFC East team. It's the Washington Commanders. I have to say, I chose some teams to be very bullish on and some teams to be very bearish on. I'm very bearish on the Washington Commanders. I think this is a setup to be not great this year. And I'm taking the under. I am questioning whether to make the playoffs because I think they'll get to 7 or 8 wins, but I just think it's too perfect. Like the whole Jaden thing went perfectly, and I just don't see it going that way this year. Sophomore slump, even if it's like a CJ Stroud sophomore slump, I just don't know if that team will be good enough to win games. I do like their culture, and I do like Jane Daniels, but I'm not as high on him as a lot of other people are. So I think this could be a potential Stroud situation where you're now in the NFC East, you're not in the AFC South, where this could potentially catch up to you. I'm very bearish on the Commanders' chances this season. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs. I'm taking that under 9.5. Cam, you're nodding your head in agreement.
Yeah, I mean, kind of how you said about me with the Eagles, I couldn't agree more. This kind of seems like a recipe for a sophomore slump, especially with adding new weapons. There's so much hype around the skins, obviously the skins on this podcast.
Got to continue the old tropes.
Absolutely. With the skins and Jaden in general, I don't know. This just reeks of a team that I don't even know if they get 7. Like, maybe 7. I'm thinking it's like a really down year for them, 6 or 7 wins, and then they have to really reevaluate in the offseason. But yeah, I mean, what do you have it at? 9.5? Yeah, the same. And then I just find it crazy how they're favored to make the playoffs when I think the NFC, especially like that division too. Like, I don't think it gets talked enough about. Like, sure that like the Giants and the Cowboys aren't necessarily as on par with talent as opposed to Eagles and Skins, but those games are always close. And I could see the Skins losing like 3 out of 4 to Dallas and the Giants. Like,
I can see them losing a game to the Giants. I'm not even kidding.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and then you have to play the defending Super Bowl champions twice. Like, it's very and they have one of the toughest. I think when I went game by game, they had one of the tougher schedules when I was looking at it. So I'm kind of on your page, Dub. I'm thinking the under. Think sophomore slump. Too much hype around them. Doesn't really seem too good from their side, from my perspective.
Michael, are you in agreement?
I'm in agreement.
Okay.
Not really too much else to say. I think they still get to 9. I do have them making the playoffs at 9. So, yeah.
Debo was added, traded Brian Robinson recently. Okay, it'll be an interesting season to follow with the Commanders in year 2 of the Jaden Daniels era. We look at this division as a whole. The Eagles hold up as a -140 favorite. The Commanders at +220. Cowboys at +650. Giants at +180. My one drop in the bucket random pick would be Cowboys +650, but I'm not taking it. That would be the one bet I would actually look on this because I don't trust the Commanders, and I'm not taking the Eagles at a -140. I just feel like on a standalone. I didn't really think of the parlay stuff, so maybe that's a good idea when I actually go to place my futures. But the one I would look at the Cowboys at +650 because that number just seems high. Like, I'm kind of just evaluating the lines, just because I do think the Cowboys could have it like a potential 10-6 or 10-7 or 11-5 season just randomly because it's Jerry. So that's what I would be looking at. I mean, Giants, I don't think are going to do shit. Commanders, I think, will be bad. And then Eagles will probably just win this division. But at -140, I didn't really love that. So what do you guys think of this division? Bets,
completely agree. I think I might make a spur-of-the-moment little parlay with division winners from the NFC side. And I just kind of gave my AFC one. But NFC side, that -140 is extremely tempting to place in a parlay. Or even, I think it's short enough for me where I would take it straight up. But, yeah, I'm not a fan of any of the other teams in the division, even though they'll probably, like slice games in between each other, cutting in that win total. I think the Eagles eventually pull away.
Okay. Michael, anything?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll move to the NFC North. This is one of my favorite divisions for bets this future season. We'll start with one of the teams that are the only team in this division that I don't have an over-under for. It's the Chicago Bears because I'm kind of torn on what I think they're going to be this year. It's year 2 of Caleb Williams. Ben Johnson is now the head coach. Over-under's at a modest but slightly good 8.5, and they're +160 to make the playoffs. Michael, what do you think about the Chicago Bears team heading into this season?
I don't really have very many thoughts on them. I think the new coach bump is semi-real here. It's definitely interesting stuff coming out of their camp, as you were mentioning with, I forget which team it was, but you never really know with that sort of stuff, like how much of it's real, how much of it's just camp.
Yeah, some concerning Caleb Williams news. early on in camp, I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm bearish or bullish on them. I feel like it's definitely a wait and see sort of thing because you can't tell from training camp and preseason games what they're actually going to look like. I don't think they got much better personnel wise. They did make some offensive line additions this offseason, but nothing crazy. Yeah, I'm probably at the under here. Based on the division and everything, but yeah, it's definitely a tough one.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, I agree. I see them having a very similar season, honestly, compared to the Jets. I think
Interesting.
I think it's a low win total, but I think it could be maybe a building block for years to come. I do like the additions they made in the offseason, Joe Tooney, expat, on the oval line, as Mikey kind of mentioned earlier. But overall, it's very difficult division. And it's also, I don't necessarily can see Caleb adjusting to the new entire offense. And I also am very curious to see how Ben Johnson is as a head coach versus a play caller offensive coordinator. I don't know. It just seems 8.5 is also a lot. Like you said, I mean, if we're talking about 9 wins, that's borderline playoff team, if not the playoffs. So I don't think the Bears make the playoffs this year. Hence, that influenced my pick on the under. And especially when you have the 3 teams in the division that also have extremely high win totals for over-under, I think one of those teams is going to have to be one of the people that suffer, and I think the Bears is the one. So I'm going the under there.
I'm bullish, but yeah, I'm not sure if they make the playoffs. I think this will be an improved team from last year, where I think we kind of forget how the Bears actually started off pretty well last season, and it kind of all fell apart there. I think Ben Johnson will be a good head coach, and hopefully he can it's weird because some quarterbacks I think will make a year 2 jump, and then some quarterbacks think will have a sophomore slump. I think Caleb could make that year 2 jump where he's once again. I mean, they got Luther Burden, he's surrounded by Roma Dunze and DJ Moore. They got that contract done, and Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland. It's like this team's going to be pretty good offensively. Like, there's not a lot of excuses for Caleb. So I think they're really going to test the waters and see how good he actually is. I do think this will be a slightly improved team, but the 8.5, it's a tough division. I'm not sure if they probably will win 1 or 2 division games. I don't know. It's tough for me to say over for sure. I'm just probably not going to touch this one. And I'm not really sure what I think of the Bears this season, but I'm going to be rooting for them. I don't know. I feel like it's always better when the Bears are good. So we'll have to see what happens with the Chicago Bears this season. Moving on to a team that's ran this division the past couple of years, the Detroit Lions. This is another one I have to say I'm bearish on the Detroit Lions. Lost both coordinators. I just think it's the dream story was there last year where felt like that should have been the year you're going to win the Super Bowl, and then all of a sudden you're losing in the second round to the Commanders after fucking up that and your 1 seed. I think the kind of dream is dead, and I do like Dan Campbell. I do like Jared Goff. He was kind of interesting, especially his female wife on the show. No, I'm just kidding. But
wife.
They were cool. I mean, they were cool on the show, and I like Jared Goff. I like Amon Ra. I like everyone on their team. I drafted Jameson Williams in Dynasty. I think they're going to be good, but I think the under's in play here. I think it's going to be a tougher division this year. I think the Bears improved, and the Packers. Well, we'll talk about that in a second, but I think it's going to be a tough road for the Lions. They might be lost the first couple of weeks without their coordinators. Obviously, both guys get head coaching jobs, so they're pretty good coordinators, and you're kind of hoping that you can get even a fraction of those guys back and what you signed. And I think it's going to look a little different. So I'm on the under, and I'm bearish on the Lions this season. What do you think, Cam? We'll go to you.
Yeah, that's one of the more interesting teams, I think, throughout the over-under preseason gambling is, like you mentioned, all the negatives. I also kind of want to go back to the end of last year when they were picking guys up off the street to start in some of their later weeks and the playoffs for defense. I mean, they suffered so many injuries, I think, and they still made it relatively work. So I'm going to have faith. I think the 10.5 is an extremely fair number because I think they flirt with either 11 or 10. But overall in the Bears situation or bullish situation, because week to week, because I think their offense is just so explosive, especially when you have the 2 running back situation you have with Gibbs and Montgomery, and then you can run off that with the play action. You have weapons like you mentioned as St. Brown and then Jameson. I like them to make the playoffs, and I also like the over on the win total, but they also definitely flirt with the line of either 11 or 10, maybe 12, but I don't know. I'm going to take the over. I'm not going to place anything on it, but that's currently where I sit with them.
Michael?
Yeah, I'm also going to take the over. It's surprising. I think when I went through the whole thing, I did not pick them to win the division, but I'd also picked them over the 10.5. And yeah, I think the biggest thing for them, like Cam was saying, was the coordinators, like both of them being head coaches now. I know the Jets also took their pass game coordinator to be their offensive coordinator this year. So they have a lot of turnover in the coordinator and position coach area of the thing. So I don't know. I know Dan Campbell's not the biggest X's and O's coach. So we'll see how they replace that. But I think they have the players and the people coming back from injury to make things happen. I know Aiden Hutchinson's going to try and be an absolute maniac this year. He was probably on his way to a depoy maybe last year. But yeah.
Okay. Before we get to our next team, one comment from the chat. What sounds better for dinner, kachari or coconut chickpea curry? I'm going to say the first option, coconut chickpea curry. Ooh, that doesn't sound good to me.
Or you just have from our official sponsor, Four Loko.
Right.
You do not have to eat dinner.
Michael, any takes on this, or are we going to move on?
I'm a huge fan of the curry.
Okay.
So, yeah.
The Green Bay Packers are a team that is going to be very interesting in this season. I'll start this one out because this is one of my favorite teams.
This is your team.
I'm a big Jordan Love. I love. If you know, you know. I love Jordan Love. Like I said in my Dynasty chat, I would move heaven and earth for Jordan Love. This is the year I'm taking the over 9.5 wins. I mean, I don't understand some of these odds where you have the over under 9.5 wins and you have minus 140 playoffs. Like if they're gonna make the playoffs, they're gonna be over 9.5 wins. So wrap it up. I think there's one team we haven't talked about in the division that I might take a step back. We'll get to in a second, but I like this Packers team, and this is all stemming from the fact when I was blazed out of my mind and they selected Matthew Golden in the first round. I was like, holy shit, they might have just fucking. We'll get to it later, but I love this for the Packers, and I think it's going to game change everything. They finally take an offensive wide receiver in the first round. Defense has been good. Jordan Love, I think the key to the season is him staying healthy, where last season he got banged up week 1 on that Sao Paulo, whatever the fuck they played, turf.
Are they playing there again? Someone's playing.
I don't think the Packers are playing there. The Packers are playing there.
Chiefs Friday night.
And the problem is Love has already got some health concerns coming into the season, but I have a lot of faith in Matt LaFleur. I have a lot of faith in this defense to keep it going. I have a lot of faith in, they kind of have that like hodgepodge of weapons where you have Dubes, you have Watson, you have Wicks, you have Matthew Golden out of the mix, you have Josh Jacobs. So I really like what they've got going for them. I think the Packers are one of my favorite teams coming into the season. So Cam, you've been nodding your head in agreement. What do you think about the Packers?
I couldn't agree more. They're one of my favorite teams. They're also going to show up in a little bit later of a segment on this show. You also did even mention Tucker Kraft, who I think has taken massive steps as a tight end, surrounded by a lot of those other weapons that you named. I'm a huge Green Bay Packers guy this year. I'm tempted to flirt with them to win the division, but also at the same time, we've talked about it, this division is extremely difficult. So I don't know if I'm going to yet, but I'm very bullish on them. I like them to potentially win the division, but also at the same time, I'm kind of thinking it might be something of a situation we saw last year. So I'll leave that as it may, but I'm very bullish on Green Bay this year.
Michael,
as well. I do have them winning the division. Sneak peek in the next segment, but that's all right. Yeah, I think obviously you guys are saying it. Division's going to be tight race to the end. I feel like all these teams kind of have a semi-real shot, except maybe the Bears. But some people are higher in the Bears than others. But yeah, I have the Packers here as the over.
Okay, so we all like the Packers. Good to see there. Comment from the chat. Can is a problem. Cam, you've been labeled a problem.
Well, we'll spell my name right, and then we can determine who the problem is. So.
Got him. Last team in the division is the Minnesota Vikings. JJ McCarthy, pretty much same team from last year, except you're adding him. Jordan Addison suspended a couple games. Michael, we'll kick it back to you. What's your take on the Minnesota Vikings this season?
Under. Sam Darnold is the GOAT, and JJ McCarthy can.
I love that being the first thing in your response. Okay.
Only because of JJ McCarthy, even though he is a pick for something I have later.
I think I have that as well, Mikey, actually. I'm very bullish on the Minnesota Vikings. I think JJ McCarthy, like I said, grew up in New England. It's not as big of a college football town. So at least I don't know about you, Dub, but I kind of liked Michigan growing up college football wise because it's where Tom Brady went. And then I did for them.
But I can't now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I know you have other ties, but I followed Michigan ever since I joined college when a lot of the people down in North Carolina, that's the only sport they follow is college football. So the Michigan Wolverines were my team. JJ McCarthy led him on a great run. I think he can do what Kevin O'Connell wants him to do with the weapons surrounding around him. I think this is an easy 9.5 over, honestly. I know it's a tough division, but I have them as one of my playoff teams. I think the NFC North is just going to honestly dominate in the NFC overall. They're one of the more complete divisions. I'm not as high as the Bears. I'm not high on as the Bears as somebody else is that I know. But those top three teams that we talked about, Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay, I think those three teams will make the playoffs, and I think Minnesota might end up winning the division, honestly, with the team that JJ has around him. Not really sure, but we'll see. I'm very bullish on them.
I'm bearish. JJ McCarthy is not a good quarterback, and you let Sam Darnold walk out the door, and it's going to blow up in your face. I don't even think Sam Darnold's that good, but I just think the way they handled it was pretty bad, where you could have kept both of them, and then if Sam Darnold started to fuck up, you could just put in JJ McCarthy. But I don't think he's going to be good. I think this is a tough division where I could see the Vikings losing a lot. I think they'll split against the Bears, lose both games to the Packers, lose both games to the Lions. That leaves you at where you're at. So I think the under's in play here for me. I'm a little scared that says minus 120 to make the playoffs, but people kind of forget the Vikings are like in and out where like last year they're really good. And then the next year they miss the playoffs, and that's kind of been a pattern for them. So I think it's going to be rough to start with JJ McCarthy, where yes, he had a great run with Michigan. They won a national championship, but he was not asked to throw the ball a lot in that. It was a two-headed rushing attack, and himself included. He can kind of scramble a bit when he needs to. So I'm interested to see a full season of JJ McCarthy. It's kind of jury's out on him right now for me, and I would suggest that he's going to be bad. So I'm taking the under on that. Before we get to the division, we have some more comments. Greg is playing the new system, trying to get to the top of the leaderboard, needs to show his support to get to the top. Of course, Mike, I love you. I was actually laughing at this comment. I couldn't hold myself. He said, "Guys drinking a Four Loko for dinner." That's like,
that's high.
He's kind of got a point. He says, "I love my alcohol, but come on now." Okay, right. So Michael, you've alluded to taking the Packers. I'm with you as well. I think the Packers at plus 225 is great value for this division. But Cam, you were kind of tentative to do it. All four teams here are plus signs. So what were you thinking for the division, if anything? Or are you just going to kind of let it play out?
So I'm not going to place anything, but in the rest of the, pod that we're going to talk about when it comes to playoff seeding, I actually have Minnesota winning the division, as I talked about. I was very high on them.
Whoa.
I love Kevin O'Connell and what he's able to do with. He basically coined the term the Pastronaut for Joshua Dobbs, who nobody fucking knew who he was before he played a game for Minnesota, and was basically reading in plays for him. I think JJ McCarthy's. Okay. Well, I think JJ McCarthy is a much more capable quarterback than him. He also did very similar success with Nick Mullins as a backup. I think he might be it's very different because Sam Darnold's a top 3 pick, but I don't value Sam Darnold as much as some other people do. I think he could be as good as Sam Darnold, if not better this year with the talent around him. I know Addison out for the first quarter of the season, give or take, is going to be a little bit of a setback, but I don't know. I'm not saying they make maybe a deep run in the playoffs, but I see them being that one seed that maybe kind of chokes in earlier on in the playoff seedings. But I currently have Minnesota winning that division. Not that I would throw money on it, but
Okay. More comments from the chat. Greg Small has just found out that Dubcast didn't follow him until today, which I was working on Instagram today. Mikey, you can confirm I was actually following people today. I'm following everyone who's appeared on the Dubcast. So technically, Greg Small has appeared on the Dubcast. We did an NCAA preview. So he's a bit upset about that. He said, "You're fucking kidding me. You in my shit list for that. I listen to this podcast religiously. I don't see you in the comments of any other videos other than the NFL stream, so I will question you on that." But we have the NFC South to get to. Let's just kind of, it's the NFC South.
easy.
Falcons are the most interesting team in the NFC South, in my opinion. Michael Penix, do you think he's going to be good? Do you think he's going to be bad? We'll start with you, Mikey. What's your take on the Falcons?
Under.
Okay.
Hammer.
That's it?
Yep.
I think this could be interesting where the Bucks,
I don't want to hear it.
sneaky last season. It came down to the last week where they needed to win, or it was the last 2 weeks. It wasn't a walk in the park. I'm interested to see Penix play. I'm excited to get.
I think Bijan could be a dog.
Yeah, is it finally Kyle Pitts season? Or
Stop. We've done this song and dance. Fucking, it's gonna be the Buccaneers overall. We all know it. Take that. I think I have it at -105 to win the division. That is insane. After they've absolutely dominated the division, maybe not like by several wins, but in the past years with Baker, it hasn't even been a question. So.
Okay, well, you're skipping a bunch of segments.
I agree with Cam wholeheartedly.
8.5.
This division doesn't have to be talked about.
8.5.
I took the under for every other team in the division.
Yeah, I'll take the under too. I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs. I think they'll be a fun. I think they'll
That's
be
actually not true though. I took the over for the Panthers.
Okay, Panthers 6.5.
This is my hammer the under.
I was very
Start.
very close to making them my 7th team in.
That is
Whoa.
insane. They win max 4 games this year. Easy. One of the most overrated teams going into the season. I know they ended the season pretty well last year. Bryce Young is going to eventually choke in the beginning of the year, and then we're going to have that actual conversation of, is Bryce Young the future of the Carolina Panthers, which he's not. And then from there, there's kind of a shit show of a year. They just lost Adam Thielen, one of the more veteran presence on that entire team.
He wanted to go home.
Hey,
He wanted to go home.
Yeah, he wanted to get the fuck out of Carolina is what he wanted to do. And it's probably a smart call. So I'm hammering the under. One of the bets I'm placing under 6.5 wins.
Michael had the over.
Of course.
Okay. 6.5 to me feels rough, where like I actually like them at 6 or 7 wins, where like I think you build upon last year, but it's not like enough to push you into the playoffs. Like I was not considering the Panthers to be a playoff team, but I do like their outlook this year. I've been a Bryce believer. I'll say it on every podcast episode. I think him and Mac Jones will play in a Super Bowl at some point against each other.
That's wild. That's wild.
That's going to be my take of this podcast. It's going to happen someday. Everyone's going
Mac
to be
Jones on a football team?
He's on the 49ers.
Backup.
So when Bryce Young gets traded to like the Jets and he plays the 49ers in the Super Bowl. Wow.
Jets 49ers Super Bowl would be
Super Bowl.
immaculate.
But yeah, I like Bryce Young, and I think I'm really glad he actually got the second opportunity, got to play again, and kind of showed what he can actually do and not have to play with like dog shit, everything going around. As for, I think you can expect guys like Leggett and Jalen Coker and these other guys. Hunter Renfrow was added but then cut. I think there's a chance.
Who the fuck? What names are you naming? Ted McMillan's a bust.
Chuba Hubbard.
All right, fair.
Chuba.
I don't mind Chuba.
Chuba made me money last year. And
Chuba's done. I don't mind Chuba.
I think this Panthers team's gonna be fun to watch, and I am gonna tentatively take the under, but I would be very happy if they go over, because I think I like Bryce Young, and I think it's this would be a fun story if Dave Canales can get the boys together. So I don't think they make the playoffs or anything, but I slightly lean under here. Okay.
We can
somebody is still with us, a Panthers fan. Mikey knows ball.
All right.
And more Mikey Glazing. Mikey, all-time ball knower. Interesting. One of the teams people think is going to be the worst teams in the NFL, the New Orleans Saints. Their over-under is the lowest we've had besides the Browns, I think, 4.5. Spencer Rattler named the starter. They took an extra week with Kellen Moore to decide on this. I mean, I think this is an under. I think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL. And the fact that they're starting Spencer Rattler, I might go and take like alt minus under 3.5. Like this is going to be a horrid team, even in the worst division. Like I don't even think they pick up a division win. They do have a nice home field advantage in Alvin Kamara, but besides that, like Chris Olave was crashing out after getting a concussion last year, and you had Derek Carr, he retires. Now you're stuck with Spencer Rattler as your starting quarterback. Caught Jake Hayner, and it's Tyler Shuck is the guy you're going with. I don't love this at all, and I think it's going to be a very horrid season for the New Orleans Saints, where maybe they can find themselves picking at the top of the draft and get one of those guys that we've talked about before. But Cam,
Derek Carr retiring probably makes them very happy based on the money they owed him.
Yeah, they probably forced him to. They're like, dude, get out.
I also have them on the under. They're going to be horrible, and yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah, I think their 1 win or maybe 2 wins this year are going to be against the Panthers, which you're also going to hit on my other bet. But I'm hammering both the under on wins for the Panthers and the Saints that I'm actually going to be placing.
Okay. More comments in the chat. Greg Small has not been paying attention. He says, McGann, can we talk about how the Dubcast didn't follow me into today? I talked about that 5 minutes ago, where I just said today I just followed everyone who's ever appeared on the Dubcast, and you've appeared on the Dubcast, so I followed you.
You should unfollow him just based off that comment.
He's
totally not paying attention to the
I feel like he's not lying. I feel like it's true.
I actually followed your father today because I didn't know your father's name, Mark. I followed the wrong Mark Halloran. Okay. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You guys are very high on them. So, I mean, I'll just give my thoughts quickly. I think this might be a little bit of a regression, but I think this over under 9.5. I just don't think the Falcons will get there. So I'm going to take the over. I think 10 wins is a good number for them. Don't see it being much higher. See it potentially being lower, but 10 wins I think is where the Bucs land. So I would grab the over. Not going to place it because this NFC South feels like the tides always switch around here. So what do we like the over under 9.5? You guys both like that, or?
Yep. I like the over, and I agree it's probably going to be 10, maybe 11. Losing their offensive coordinator is tough, but I feel like it's just a non-competition to me.
Okay. Comments from the chat. Doing 2 things at once. That's his excuse, and then says, Cam, stop. I don't know what he's telling you to stop doing. Division, looking at it as a whole, you guys like the Bucs minus 115. I had them. I think Cam, you said minus 105, but that's basically a even spread or even odds of bet $5, make $5 type thing. Yep. So my pick here would be the Falcons if I thought they could do it, but I don't have enough confidence in them to do it. So probably Bucs add to the parlay for me. You guys are all in agreement there. Okay, so we'll go to another one of Cam's favorite divisions, the NFC West, starting with the Arizona Cardinals, which is a very high over-under, in my opinion, 8.5 after they've kind of built out.
All these are fucking high.
No. I would take the under.
Because they have no idea.
I'm bearish on the Cardinals. They haven't done anything in a couple of years to make me be bullish on them. And Kyler Murray, I think, is sneaky like in year like 8 or some shit. Like he's been around for a long fucking time, and there's only a certain amount of time where you can like even Sam Darnold. I mean, he was drafted slightly before Sam Darnold, so maybe Kyler's got like 2 years to pop out, but we kind of know what he is at this point. Maybe like a bounce back season for Marv is what Cardinals fans could be looking for in the season. I think they are a classic, one of those teams I mentioned before, like the Colts. The Titans keep it close, make it fun, but I just don't see them getting over 8.5 wins. So I would take the under, and I'm bearish on the Cardinals overall. Cam, I'm guessing same for you.
Yep, easy. That's also going to be another one of my focus 5. Kind of similar on the AFC South pattern, if you remember that conversation. But yeah, definitely the under. Cardinals haven't done anything since Larry Fitzgerald, so absolutely don't understand why they're projected a winning record.
Michael?
Agreed. No other thoughts. Under.
Okay. I don't understand this comment. Wait for the Jags. Take the under.
Dude, see, this guy clearly doesn't listen to the pod. I don't know why we're following him on this stuff.
Oh, he's got news. Apparently, Travis Hunter got his wife pregnant.
Good for him.
This will impact the entire Jaguars. Okay. That's not good for over. Okay. Los Angeles Rams. A lot of weird voodoo shit happening out here with Matthew Stafford, and a lot of stuff coming out of that camp with, is he going to play? Is he okay? We'll start with you, Mikey. I feel like you've been a kind of a Rams guy over the course of last year. No? Okay. Well, I was the Rams guy. I had to make the playoffs to start the year. But what do you think about the Rams this year?
I'm not a big Rams guy this year. Matthew Stafford might be cooked. Jimmy G's their backup, right?
Yep.
also
And
cut.
Stetson Bennett.
And I think he got cut. Didn't he get cut?
Did he get cut?
Stetson Bennett's
Right?
been out of the league for like 3 years.
No, he came back. He got out of rehab.
Okay.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. Don't worry.
No, I had the under on them here.
Stetson Bennett made the roster.
Oh, good for him. Proud of him.
That's it.
That's it. Good for him.
Stetson, if you see this, Mikey says he's proud of you. Okay.
Mikey, do you have more on the Rams or no?
No.
Did you say? Okay.
I'm taking the under.
I'm pretty big on the Rams, mainly because I'm so anti the entire division. I think 9.5 is kind of low for them. I think they're one of the teams that actually improved in the offseason. This Stafford injury in the training camp, I feel like is more overhyped than it should be because it's training camp. But also, he's an older guy. Yeah, we get it. But also, he probably just didn't want to play in that. McVay probably didn't want him to play in the preseason and get reps. He knows the majority of that offense already. And obviously, you're just adding Devontae in there, which I'm sure they probably had reps side by side. I don't think it's as hyped up as it should have been. I really like the Rams to be a double-digit win team, especially due to the quality of their conference. I think they're one of the teams that could compete for the NFC. I don't know if they're making it out of it overall, but 9.5 seems a little low to me. So I'm taking those.
They're not making it out. Oh, the NFC. All right, never mind.
Yeah, I struggle to pick the NFC wildcard teams because it feels like a very top-heavy team, especially with me saying the Lions and the Commanders will have down years. That being said, I am slightly bearish on the Rams. I just don't see how it's going to get better from what it's been. Yes, they had a very good year last year, almost beat the Eagles in that snow game. People forget about that, but I think the Stafford stuff's a little bit concerning. I think this division is always competitive, no matter if you dismiss the Cardinals and the teams like the Seahawks. They're going to give you a fight. These NFC West games are always down to the wire at the last second. So I think the 9.5 is just half a point too high for me. I'm taking the under for the Rams, and I'm slightly bearish on them overall. I just think Stafford, it's going to Father Time always wins unless you're Tom Brady. So I think it's going to come from Matt Stafford, and sooner rather than later. Here we go. So more comments in the chat. Cam's not here, but he says Cam needs to chug water. And so Travis Hunter and the wife did already have a baby already, bust written all over him because he had a baby. I mean, if you know the amount of college players that had babies, you wouldn't be saying that. Cam, welcome back. You had one comment for you just saying to chug water.
I did hear that. Greg Small can fuck off.
Whoa. All right. 2 teams to go. We're getting a little rowdy. How about the San Francisco 49ers, Cam? I mean, you said you didn't like the whole division, but then you like the Rams. So does that mean you don't like the 49ers?
I don't like them at 10.5. 10.5 seems very extreme based off of their season last year. I know they're going to have McCaffrey coming in week 1, but on the flip side, you have Ayuk out for, I don't know the official timeline, but it sounded like 4 weeks from the last time I checked. The receiving core without Debo is going to be Jawan Jennings, and then hopefully that guy that fucking got shot can somehow
Ricky
play.
Pearsall puts
That guy that fucking got shot.
I mean, I don't know. This just
George
seems like
Kittle.
I'm bullish on them overall when it comes to spreads. I think they make the playoffs, but 10.5 seem expecting them to have an 11-win season without your wide receiver 1 for at least the first 4 weeks seems a little concerning. I don't know. I'm just anti the 10.5. It seems like a very high line.
I agree with Cam. If this was 9.5, I'd take the over. It's 10.5. I'm taking the under. I think they're a 10-win team.
Yeah.
I do also have them making the playoffs, but I don't know. I'm not so big on Brock Purdy. So it's kind of tough with Ayuk missing a couple games, and you never know with CMC. But I feel like the 49ers also just have random running backs that run for 200 yards in a game. So you never really know with them.
Just traded for Brian Robinson, Isaac Gurindo. I'm over, and I'm bullish on the 49ers. I think this is a comeback year. I am a Brock lever. I think this is a make or break year for him, where if they kind of fall through like last year, then we can kind of say, okay, maybe that was overhyped of Brock and he just had a really good roster. You have some semblance of that roster. You have George Kittle. You have Juwan Jennings, who people forget in that Super Bowl had a really good game, and I think could be potentially something. Ricky Pearsall, we didn't see a lot of last season, and then Ayuk comes back and potentially help aid the thing. And, the running backs are always good. So I like this team. Still have Trent Williams, I think. Still have a good offensive line. Still always have a good defense with, a bunch of guys over there. So I think this division, actually, the way things are going right now, actually, with the Cardinals kind of sliding off the map, the Rams faltering a little bit, I think this actually lines up pretty well for the 49ers. We'll talk about the last team as well. But I think the 49ers can kind of rule the day in this division. And they're also playing a third place schedule or second place schedule this season. I forget where they finished exactly, but third place. Yeah, I think that's even easier than what we had last year, where they were kind of going back to back or going against all these crazy teams. Remember, they played the Bills in Buffalo and snowing shit. So I think this will be an easier year for the 49ers. I think they get back on track. I just have faith in Kyle Shanahan overall and also Brock Purdy. So that's where I'm at with the 49ers. More comments from the chat. Cam says, come on, Cam, why can't we be friends? Cue the music. And in the Ricky Pearsall incident, 2 guys that got shot. Don't forget about that. Last team wrapping up here is the Seattle Seahawks. Their over-under is 8.5 wins. Cam, we'll start with you here. He's thumbs down.
Hammer the under, please. Yeah, hammer the
Arnold believer.
Absolutely not. New head coach, completely different offense. I actually do like Cooper Kupp as a receiver, kind of getting up there a little bit. Brand new offense for him as well. New quarterback, new OC. This is just way too much new. Where I feel like all these guys, it feels like a band of misfit toys almost, where they're just throwing a bunch of shit together and hoping it works. And I just don't foresee that happening.
I have them winning the division.
Hold up.
Okay, flip 180.
I love Sam.
You look
okay. That's it. Period. Exclamation point.
That's all I have to say about that. I root for them, and yeah, I'm pretty sure Mike McDonald's their coach, and he was also their coach last year, so he's not a first-year head coach. But yeah,
I meant with the quarterback. I don't know if I misspoke.
Yeah, second-year coach. Corrected
yeah.
the chat. Yeah, I'm with Cam. I got the under. I really like Jackson Smith and Jigba, but besides that, Sam Darnold, I don't know if I trust him fully. Where that Minnesota Vikings setup, we've seen guys go in there and just play like that. I mean, I was kind of shitting on JJ McCarthy earlier, but it just feels like an easy setup where you have Justin Jefferson, you have Jordan Addison, you have really good running backs. It just feels like it's kind of an easy setup for a quarterback to do well. So maybe I'm interested to see Sam Darnold play the season. I just don't think it's going to go as well, especially where I have higher hope, or I have higher expectations. That's the division specifically, especially the Rams and the 49ers. I think could easily beat them 2 or 3 times, 2 or 3 times at least. So I'm out on the Seahawks. Yeah, I don't think they'll make the playoffs either. So we've got a bunch of comments to get through in the chat. Sam Darnold is on this podcast low-key. # Team Mikey. Yeah, that's kind of the rooting interest there. Shocked by the Seahawks take. That's absurd. But in Mikey we trust. About to put my savings on Seattle. Okay.
Go ahead.
Mikey's got him to win the division.
I believe in you.
Highest odds, plus 500 for the Seahawks here.
I had to pick one underdog.
Okay, I respect it.
Chalk with everything else.
Cam, where was your head at for this? The Rams to win this division, or?
Yeah, Rams to win the division, and then also part of the Focus 5 parlay, bottom 3 teams to finish under their win totals. Not bottom 3, but 49ers, Cardinals, and Seahawks. I honestly was surprised to see that the 49ers were favored to win the division. Honestly, I know the win totals would have led to that, but just in my mind, it seemed very odd. As I mentioned in their first segment, strictly on them. But yeah, I think I'm gonna take the Rams straight up, and then also parlay them, the 3 losers, to have the under on the win total.
Okay, I'm grabbing the 49ers here. I just feel like Vegas is putting a lot of faith in them, so that makes me think that I'm kind of missing something here, and I've kind of explained my reasons for the 49ers. But them at plus 155, I don't think that's a bad number to maybe throw half a unit on them and see what happens. I think if they could get it back together, they could easily win this division. So that's where my head's at for this one. We finally gone through all 32 teams. We still have a lot of podcasts to get to, so we'll segue into our awards section, starting with the MVP. So I told the panel I'd be picking one favorite and one long shot. I believe they both followed suit. So, Michael, we'll start with you. Who's your pick for MVP? And then who is one guy you think people might be sleeping on for MVP?
My MVP is Lamar Jackson. I think he's the second, or he might be the favorite. I don't know. It's pretty close between him and Josh Allen when I was seeing. And then my reach is CJ Stroud.
That's insane because I have the same exact thing. Actually, I know I have Lamar at plus 430 and CJ Stroud at plus 2,500 before the pod.
Lamar's at plus 550 on DK. CJ's at plus 2,500.
Okay, noted. I had the same exact picture written down. So,
all right, I just lost my spot. Hold on. My MVP, I alluded to it earlier, is also from the AFC North. It's Joe Burrow. Actually, in my first ever NFL video, I picked him last season, and I got fucking clowned for it, where if you look at the actual stats of the season, he should have won, but he wasn't on a winning team, and there is a narrative-based league, so that is my one worry with him, where he could fall behind guys like Josh Allen or another NFC like Jalen Hurts type guy who just has a really good team. But plus 650 for Joe Burrow. I'm in the Joe Burrow camp. I think this is going to be the year of Burrow. I think it's going to be the Bengals year where they're just scoring 1 million points. That's my thought process there. Long shot, I didn't love anybody, so I went a little bit outside of the box. It's a team we just talked about, Brock Purdy, to get it back together and carry the 49ers if he can figure something out with either Pearsall or Juwan Jennings, get Ayuk back, get into the group with Kittle, and McCaffrey catches a lot of passes as well. So I think Purdy could rack up some accolades if the 49ers are blowing out teams. Just something I'm considering there. Probably won't actually place that one, but I probably will place the Burrow one. We segue to Offensive Rookie of the Year. For me, this was a boring one. There's only one quarterback who's going to be starting, and this award always pretty much goes to a quarterback. So I'm taking Cam Ward at plus 350. Just feels like a pretty free bet. I know like Travion's up there right now, and there's like Travis Hunter is my long shot at plus 1,000. I don't know if he'd get Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's where it's kind of a weird one where he's going to be playing both sides of the ball. But I do think he could be an electric receiver. So that's my long shot there. But I think Cam Ward will do enough to have a decent ratio, play all 16 games as quarterbacks. I think he can win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Cam, what do you think for Offensive Rookie of the Year?
I actually lean towards Genty. Mikey kind of alluded to it earlier in the pod where a lot of these rookie running backs get undervalued, I feel like. And I feel like Genty, even though he might not be on a great team, will get a lot of touches. And he's at plus 250, so that was my main guy. And then you obviously mentioned Travion. Got to go with the little path guy there. He's at plus 1,400 to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, so those are my two picks.
Michael, did you find your Offensive Rookie of the Year, or do you want us to circle back?
No, I didn't. No, I had the Chargers rookie running back Omarion Hampton as my pick for there because I don't believe in Najee, and I think he's going to be their workhorse. And then I also had Henderson as my reach, same as Cam.
Okay.
So,
Defensive Rookie of the Year, Cam, you seem to be bearish on the idea of Abdul Carter winning this. So who do you have as your Defensive Rookie of the Year?
So I actually originally thought, because I did this before I looked at the odds, but my number one is actually more of a higher odds favorite to win. I really like Starks for the Ravens. He's plug and play, can get a lot of tackles, but also a lot of interceptions, maybe some forced fumbles. And then more on the other side is Pierce, who can get a lot of sacks, as obviously the rookie numbers or just the award winners are based off of statistics. James Pierce can load up arguably the most sacks out of any rookie, so I thought that he might have a good shot at plus 1,700. So, and Starks is at plus 2,000. So those are my two picks.
I love the Starks pick. I had him as my long shot at plus 1,800. I agree with everything you said. And also, like, Kyle Hamilton just became the highest paid safety of all time, where Starks could be opposite him and be getting those good numbers. I just went with Abdul as my favorite. I mean, Defensive Rookie of the Year, I feel like if you're betting Defensive Rookie of the Year, like, I don't know what to tell you. He was the number 3 pick. He's supposed to be raw. And I think, like, there's a lot of other threats in that Giants defensive line. We have Dexter Lawrence, you have Brian Burns, where he might get single coverage, might get some easy sacks. Where Michael, I think you said that's gonna be the best defensive line in football. So that's where I'm at for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Michael, what about you?
Same as Dub for Abdul Carter as my number one. I think he's gonna rack up the sacks. He's gonna see single coverage all the time. So, and then I had Mason Graham.
Slept on, yeah.
Do you have his odds in front of you or no?
No, I don't have it in front of me anymore.
I'll pull it up as we go to Opoy, Offensive Player of the Year. Michael, we'll start back with you here.
I had two pretty chalk bets. I had Jamar because I think Joe Burrow's probably gonna throw for 6,000 yards or something stupid like that. And then Justin Jefferson as my reach, just in case JJ decides to be good.
I actually use JJ as my number one. Even though he might be a little bit banged up, this might be a JJ Opoy kind of year. I love it because that kind of goes based off of my McCarthy expecting him to play well within Minnesota and then to be a high win team. I assume he's going to get the majority of the targets. So I have him at plus 1,200. My long shot, kind of interesting, James Cook out of the backfield. Also not a terrible pass catcher. That's at plus 7,500. I might throw like $1 on that to win 75. And then, hey, if the Bills play well,
lose $1.
I mean, but the thing is, like, who's the main option that Josh Allen's going to? I mean, he likes to spread the ball around. I get it, but exactly, yeah. But you think Shakir catches over 12 touchdowns? I don't know. James Cook could run for 20 and catch 6 or 7.
Ray Davis. That's all I'll say.
All right, get out.
So just to follow up, Mason Graham is plus 1,600 according to CBS Sports. For my Offensive Player of the Year, I went kind of rogue on this one. I don't know. It's hard to pick this award in my opinion. So I picked Bijan. I think he could get a lot of touches either way. And, Michael Penix might lead on the run game and also short dump down passes. In that same sort of tune, long shot, I went with someone who's coming back from injury, Christian McCaffrey at plus 2,000. I feel like he's the best running back in football, so it's crazy to have him at those odds. And I think if the 49ers are going to be good, he's going to be a big part of that. So that's something I might actually be willing to place. Next, we have Depoy, Defensive Player of the Year. I'll start this one. I've got Nick Bosa at plus 1,500. Once again, leaning into the 49ers being good. I don't know. It's a weird award to pick of the defensive awards, especially. Long shot, I've got Patrick Surtain the second at plus 5,000. He was the runner-up last season, so if he's able to have that same type of year, it's probably worth a bet at those high of odds, and I was pretty surprised to see him at that number, so that was my long shot. We'll go back to you, Cam. What do you think for Defensive Player of the Year?
For my realistic pick, I had TJ Watt. I think coming off of a deal that he was much deserved, I can see him making a decent amount of sack numbers, and I didn't really like the Pittsburgh Steelers in the original segment of over-under win totals. I think the defense is still going to be pretty good. I think TJ Watt racks up sacks and then also makes forced fumble plays in the backfield, maybe even a pick or two at the D-line position. But that's at plus 850 too, which I thought was pretty good value. And also, I'm going to lean into the Patriots again. How about Christian Gonzalez? A little bit of a Patrick Surtain, little breakout year, number one corner in the league. Maybe give me like 6-7 picks or a few deflections here and there, like 20 deflections. Give me Depoy out of Christian Gonzalez at plus 8,500.
Michael?
Yeah, I kind of went the same lines as Cam. I took TJ as my pick, just because I think I don't know. I was also in the same boat. I don't think the Steelers are going to be very good, but he could have 22 sacks. Like, it could be.
I mean, Myles Garrett's done it the past, his entire career, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then staying with the program, taking a corner for my reach, and it's going to be Ahmad Sauce Gardner.
Love it.
Fair.
Hometown bias.
Yep.
All right, we'll kick it back to you for
in there.
Comeback Player of the Year. A lot of candidates on this board, injury, other things happening in people's lives. What do you think for Comeback Player of the Year?
I think it's going to be Aiden Hutchinson. Just like I feel like that's the obvious pick.
Yeah.
And then my reach is JJ McCarthy.
No? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, not to interrupt you, Dub, but I have McCarthy as my long shot as well. I mean, I've talked about the Vikings at nauseum, I feel like, at this point. So if they have a good year, I feel like McCarthy might be one of the front runners for that comeback. So he's my long reach, but Dub kind of alluded to it's the best running back, arguably, in the entire league. Christian McCaffrey at plus 300. I really like. Yeah, it was plus 300. Yeah, it was plus 300. So that's one of my favorites in that one. Hutchinson's also a good bet from Mikey as well.
Yeah, I went with Hutch as my favorite. I had this other pick that I floated in the chat, and they were like, everyone's like, if this person has like even a decent year, they win it. That was Hutchinson, where he was having a really good year last year, and obviously he had. I don't think this should be part of the voting, but he had one of the more gruesome injuries, so people are going to remember that and be like, oh shit, he got fucked up. And if he like has 10 sacks, it's like, give him the award. My long shot is none other than Daniel Jones.
I was thinking about that.
So there's a world
early on too.
There's a world where this isn't the most crazy pick, where he's going to a new offensive system, offensive coach. Shane Steichen is desperate for somebody new to coach. And
does it really count if they're coming back from sucking?
We've seen it before. I just think it's worth a stab, where like I could totally see this blowing up in the Giants' face, where like Daniel Jones leads the Colts to be like 10 and 7.
Was it? Did Sam win comeback player of the year?
No, I think DeMar won. DeMar was like minus 3,000.
Well, yeah, that was.
DeMar was rigged.
I don't
to win.
want to create controversy on that.
Yeah, we can just DeMar. We all know DeMar was rigged to win.
It's
so
the DeMar Hamlin comeback player of the year award.
It probably will be.
Tackle, actually.
Well, I think Daniel Jones is actually kind of worth the stab, where like there is a world in my head where this actually goes well, and like even if they sneak into the playoffs, I don't even know. Like even if he has a good statistical year, maybe he could win it. But it's always a little bit worrying when there's like other people who got hurt. Last one, Coach of the Year.
This is my W pick.
I have the same thing as Cam, assuming by the face. I have Rabel as my favorite at plus 600. Just didn't love this board really of coaches, to be honest. Probably won't bet it, but long shot I gave to Dave Canales at plus 1,600. If they're able to pull it off and the Panthers are able to be something, then he might get it for them being a shit show the last couple of years.
Don't touch that.
I'm not touching this award.
Do not touch that.
I just had to make a pick. So Cam, I'm guessing you have Rabel as well.
Yeah, I have Ravens number one, and then, I mean, I kind of talked about it again, but the Minnesota Vikings, I think they have potentially one of the better seasons out of the entire NFL. If they have a 13-14 win team with a rookie quarterback, I think KOC potentially at head coach of the year at plus 5,000 is what I saw. So, I mean, wow. Yeah, I mean, plus 5,000 for a team that was in the running for a number one seed, and then you're coming in with a rookie quarterback. I mean, there's a lot of odds to overcome because obviously it's based on like improvement and everything, but I like that at plus 5,000. But
Michael,
yeah,
are his initials AG?
No, I was thinking about it. I could see it happening, but my number one overall pick for Coach of the Year is Dave Canales.
Davey Dave.
And then Dave. My reach is for 181-year-old Pete Carroll.
Wow.
Love it. I actually love the Pete Carroll pick.
Stop it.
I do. I like it.
If they win 8 games or 9, if they win 9
make the playoffs,
he's locked. The playoffs,
he's locked for that.
They're winning 5 games this year.
That's the problem.
On.
That's the problem.
All right, let's get to our playoff teams. So I don't know what's the best way to do this. Should we all just say individually, or let's
individual go?
Yeah, individual. 14. Yeah, 1 through 7.
Let's go division. Well, let's all do divisions, okay, then we can do wild cards, and then okay. So AFC East, Bills.
Yep.
Bills.
AFC South, Jaguars.
Texans.
Okay. AFC North, Ravens.
Ravens.
AFC West, Chargers.
Chiefs.
Okay. So I've got some different picks, and then in my wild card, I've got the Chiefs, Bengals, and Texans.
I've got the Bengals, the Jaguars, and what? Oh, did I not make another pick? Damn it. I think I had
the Chargers, the Broncos.
I think it was the Chargers. It was the Chargers. It was the Chargers.
Okay.
I got in order: Chargers, Pats, Cincy.
Yeah, I couldn't put the Pats in there in good faith. Just I don't want to jinx them. But I love the pick. I was like, I don't know if I want to put the Texans, the Broncos, the Patriots. I just went with the Texans because they've been.
I think the Pats and the Bengals both end up at 9, and the Pats end up beating Cincy, and that gets them the.
Nick Wright was talking about that. Did you hear that?
No, I heard there was a rant about it, but I didn't listen to it.
All right. Yeah, we'll explain who we have coming out of the sides in a minute. So NFC in the East, I had the Eagles.
Eagles.
Yep.
Okay. In the South, I had the Bucks.
Yep.
Yep.
In the North, I had the Packers.
Yep.
Vikings.
In the West, I had the Niners.
Rams.
Seahawks.
All three different there. My wild card teams, I had the Lions, Rams, and Commanders. All three teams I'm kind of out on, but I think they'll make the wild card. Just the NFC's kind of shit outside of those teams.
I got Green Bay, Detroit, and the Niners.
Commanders, Lions, 49ers.
Okay, so I think we all ended up with the same 7 teams. Super Bowl. So I'll start with let's all say our Super Bowl, and then we'll give the winners at the end. My Super Bowl, I have the Buffalo Bills finally making it for the first time to face off against Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers in the Super Bowl. Okay.
All right.
I like that song.
I'll start off. Yeah, I also got Green Bay in the Super Bowl, but I got them facing the Ravens, actually.
I would love that matchup, too.
Yeah, very intriguing, but that's what I got on my side.
I have the Ravens as well, facing off against the reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles.
That would be a great matchup as well.
Yeah.
All right, it's time. So, Michael, you're the only person that didn't have the Packers. Who is your Super Bowl champion for this year?
I didn't even pick one.
You have 2 teams to pick from.
You couldn't come up with that on the spot.
All right, I'm taking the Eagles back to back.
Boo.
Yeah. I'm going Baltimore. Give me a Lamar regular season
Lamar can't do it in the playoffs.
Lamar Super Bowl MVP and regular season MVP. Baltimore dub.
I said one thing when I was blazed. The Packers will win the Super Bowl because they picked Matthew Golden, and I'm taking them. Somehow they're the 6th highest team. I love it. So plus 1,900, I'll ride with it, and I'll ride and die by love. Probably won't put that much on it, but it'll be a fun bet to follow throughout the season. So anything else, any player props, anything, any other Super Bowl bets before we get to college?
No.
I don't have any player props. Just want to reiterate that AFC playoff focus 5 for Cam. I'm going to do KC, Buffalo, Baltimore, Houston division winners. NFC side, we're going to do Philly, Rams, Tampa Bay division winners. And then the other 2, so I guess focus 4 at this point, we're going to do the AFC South, Indy, Jags, Tennessee, all under. And then NFC West, we're going to do Seattle, Cardinals, 49ers, all under. The Fantastic Four, as you would call that.
Okay.
Nice.
That's trademarked and copyrighted. We can't use that.
Also,
one
shout
last
out to our sponsor, For Loco, who's done an amazing job hosting this entire podcast. So
Shout
Mikey,
out to the 16-ounce screw top Miller Lite.
A 3 is 4. That's
3 is
perfect.
4.
Mikey, you broke Greg Small's heart
I'm
by
sorry,
picking
Greg. I don't know
division
what I
rival.
did. What did I do?
Pick the division rival Eagles to go back to back.
Oh, right.
Okay, let's wrap up here with some NCAA football week 1. We're very short on time, so I think a good format would just be to go ranked versus ranked, and then in the future we can maybe go into some more interesting matchups so we have the time. So first interesting game is Homer City, Texas, Ohio State. We saw in the playoff last year, Ohio State minus 1.5 in the shoe. He's got the horns up, Arch Manning. Texas, you're taking Texas?
I am taking Texas. Yeah, give me Arch. I think it's a little bit of a wake-up call for Ohio State after the Natty. But yeah, give me horns up. I'm all about the Arch hype.
I got Ohio State. I got the under. I think it's gonna be a back and forth slow game where I think Arch might be slow to the jump. So I'm liking Ohio State there. Next big one, we have Saturday 7:30 LSU Clemson in Clemson. I think I have to look at these because sometimes.
At Clemson.
Okay. In Clemson 3.5. Nussmeier and Cade Klubnik, 2 Heisman candidates. What do you think about this game?
Kind of like the Tigers. I like the road teams.
They're both Tigers, I think.
Oh, sorry. Give me the LSU. Well, with the accent, I don't know. Maybe it's more of a
Go Tigers.
draw. Yeah, I'm gonna go LSU Tigers here. I like Nussmeier. I'm not a huge fan of Klubnik, not gonna lie to you, but I know they have a pretty good team all around him. But yeah, I'll go Tigers on that one.
Yeah, I like LSU on the spread, but I think Clemson might win this game by like 3 points. I don't know. I might just observe that game and not bet it. Last one. Actually, we'll have a bonus game this week because there is one interesting game. Notre Dame versus Miami is Sunday night in. I have to check. I don't know. This looks like it's in Miami.
It's in Hard Rock, yeah.
Okay, so Miami is underdogs at home, plus 2.5 to Notre Dame. CJ Carr, new quarterback. Carson Beck, obviously playing for Miami. What do you think about Catholics versus convicts?
Give me the Catholics every single day of the week. Yeah, give me Notre Dame every single day. I think I took all road teams on your ranked matchup, but I do have another side bet that I'll let you know about after, but Notre Dame all the way.
Okay. Yeah, I'm taking Notre Dame as well. Doubted them last year and took Texas A&M in that first game. That fucked me over. So I got to go with Notre Dame here. Where's this game? Okay, so there's one bonus game. A certain NFL legend head coach is making his debut on Monday, September 1st.
Who the fuck could that be?
Bill Belichick in his debut.
No way.
Underdogs at home. TCU comes into town, minus 3.5.
Gimme Bill every single day of the week.
Okay. I'm taking
money
TCU.
line. These are all money line, by the way. I'm not taking any spreads.
Did you take the underdog in all the games? Oh no, you took Notre Dame.
I don't know. I took the away team every single time. Yeah, I took the away team, so I assume that would lead.
No, this game's in UNC, but
it is okay. So yeah, I took the away team except Bill, which is the dog in that. But
all right, I like TCU. I think I don't know if this Bill thing's gonna work out.
However,
all
right,
but they're doing the gold digger trademark, guys.
Yeah,
come on.
Also, tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football starts on the entire run of football. Give me the University of Ohio. Please and thank you. Underdogs. I forget.
Good bet.
Give me the MAC champs coming back on a Thursday, opening off week 1 of the college football season. Give me, easy money line. They're dogs, so gonna be plus money. I think they were plus 150. So
they're playing Rutgers, and they're plus 15.5.
Perfect. Oh, so what's the money line at? Hammer it.
Plus 465.
I believe the Navarro quarterback is still there, who absolutely dominated the MAC championship game. More of a running quarterback, but just look for fireworks, all right? If you're watching that game and maybe...
Wait, you said Miami of Ohio or just Ohio?
No, just Ohio.
Okay, yeah. All right. Any final thoughts on the longest podcast we've ever done? Approaching 3 hours?
No, I think that was a good... I got to pee too for the fourth time.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for the viewers being with us. It was a low-key stream, but we had some of our biggest fans pop out. Hopefully next week when we get the show on the road, it'll be better, and we'll see what happens. But
Joe's going on the road? We're getting in the van? We're going?
Well, we could.
Probably around Thanksgiving, Christmas time.
This will be the last time. This will be the last time I stream from this space. I'll say that right now. So
true.
Whoa.
Big news.
Okay.
Big changes on the Dubcast. Greg Small says Cuse. I actually do like Cuse spread. Plus 14 against Tennessee, new quarterback, but it's in Atlanta. Yeah, thanks.
Hammer Tennessee over.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Good night, stream. Peace out. We'll see you next time.